Okay, everyone, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Can we have a roll call?
Commissioner Joseph? Here. Commissioner Stuyvesant?
Here.
Commissioner Lama?
Here.
Vice Mayor Viscara?
Here.
Mayor Goldman?
Here.
All members present now.
Pledge of Allegiance. Peter Goldenberg, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Mr. Chin, the principal.
Mr.
Chin.
Mr. Chin.
Chin, the principal.
The principal. Okay, we have Mr. Chin. Principal?
To lead us, yeah.
Yeah.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our invocation. Before we get started with your invocation, and thank you, I'd like to have a moment of silence for the victims of the Buffalo. This horrible hate crime that occurred, and the importance of keeping this in our minds, and the fight against hate and extremism and radicalization.
Thank you. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Commission, Vice Mayor, City staff. Master of the Universe, look favorably upon our elected officials who serve our city of Sunny Isles Beach with dedication, and bestow upon them the joy of life, good health, and prosperity. Bless these people who have been chosen to make decisions for the citizens of our beautiful city with wisdom and understanding in their noble pursuit of justice and equality. 3,334 years ago, the Israelites were redeemed from the centuries of cruel slavery at the hands of an evil nation, the paragon of moral and ethical depravity at the time. The newly freed slaves were told that in 50 days' time, they would stand at the foot of Mount Sinai and experience divine revelation. They would receive the Ten Commandments, which would serve as the basis and anchor for moral and ethical societies for generations to come. In great anticipation for this awesome event, the Israelites counted the days with great excitement, preparing and refining themselves to be worthy of receiving such special instruction. Jewish tradition emulates this countdown every year, and it is known in Hebrew as Sfirat HaOmer. From the second day of a holiday of Passover, which commemorates the liberation from Egypt, we count 49 days to the festival of Shavuot, which commemorates the revelation at Sinai and the communication of the Ten Commandments. Today, we counted 33 days. Today is the holiday of Lag BaOmer. The idea of this annual countdown is to express how every day must count. Every day, every hour, and every minute must be utilized for positivity. To think well about another person, share a good word, and especially to do another act of kindness. And as the famous Jewish saying goes, if today is like yesterday, why do you need tomorrow? Please, God, give strength to our elected officials to be cognizant of your presence and conduct their deliberations accordingly, that they have the ability to elevate the quality of life for everyone in our city, and to be an inspiration to us all to make our days count, that we truly care for our neighbors, for our peers, for our society, our environment, and work together to make our world and our city a better place for all. Let us say Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Okay, like an approval of the minutes, of the meeting minutes.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome and thank you for being here tonight. Please turn off or mute any electronic devices to avoid interrupting these proceedings. In all issues that may come before the City Commission, we ask that everyone show mutual respect for one another by listening quietly to each person speaking, and that everyone refrain from any clapping, heckling, or verbal outbursts in favor or in opposition to a speaker. Individuals that do not adhere to Chapter 74 Rules of Procedure of the Code, particularly Section 74-21 decorum, shall be barred from further appearance before the Commission. Individuals who want to speak on any item on the agenda are asked to fill out a public speaker's card and give it to the city clerk before the item is called. Speakers are asked to speak to the issues, make comments concise and to the point, and refrain from making duplicate comments. All speakers will be limited to 1 3-minute comment per item. If you exceed the 3-minute allotment, the chair will advise you to finish your comment. If you speak out of turn without permission from the chair and/or you don't cease speaking after one warning, you will be escorted out of the chambers. There are a few changes to the agenda as follows. We will be hearing item 10A-D, smoke-free campaign, along with item 5A. There are add-ons are the following. Item 5E, proclamation recognizing Azerbaijan Republic Day. And item 5F, audit report presentation. Do I hear a motion to approve these changes?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay.
Okay, so the
Lung-
next item on the agenda is 5A, which is the Lung Cancer Awareness Proclamation. Commissioner Joseph, did you want to open up with a few words, or do you just want me to go into the proclamation?
Let's go into the proclamation, and then I'll read regarding
Very well.
the smoke-free
Okay.
resolution.
So the proclamation reads, whereas lung cancer, known as lung carcinoma, is a malignant tumor characterized by uncontrolled cell growth in the lung tissues and is the #1 cause of cancerous death of individuals in the United States, claiming over 400 lives per day, with a higher percentage of them being women. And whereas lung cancer is considered the invisible cancer because of the late onset symptoms when the cancer is in advanced stages, low survival rate, and lack of knowledge by the public, and the disease often requires laboratory testing or imaging to diagnose. And although it's the least federally funded of the top cancers, new screenings, treatments, and therapies have improved the 5-year survival rate by 17.2% over the past decade. And whereas it is important to increase funding for scientific lung cancer research to ensure enhancements in early diagnosis and to improve technology and treatments so the survival rates continue to improve. And the Lung Cancer Awareness Month campaign helps to bring attention to this disease, the importance of lung cancer screenings, and the need for promoting optimum lung health. And whereas in 2022, Florida will have approximately 16,500 new cases of lung cancer diagnosed, and along with the American Lung Association, many organizations are dedicated to lung cancer advocacy in our community and throughout the nation, including the American Lung Cancer Screening Association, whose mission is to promote lung cancer screenings for high-risk people, the Women's Lung Cancer Forum, a community of lung cancer patients, survivors, physicians, researchers, friends, and supporters. Now, therefore, does the mayor of the city of Sunny Isles Beach, and on behalf of the City Commission, hereby proclaim May as Lung Cancer Awareness Month. And this has a companion item, which is 10AD, and it's a resolution that reads, a resolution directing the city manager to pursue and implement a campaign encouraging restaurants to voluntarily participate and commit to prohibiting smoking in outdoor dining areas.
Thank you. So, Florida's home rule policy does not allow Sunny Isles Beach the rights over its own clean air. Therefore, I am bringing forth a resolution tonight for a campaign to engage our Sunny Isles Beach restaurants to voluntarily restrict outdoor smoking to the benefit of health and well-being of their entertainers, bus persons, waiters, and patrons. Most of the young people in this room don't know or remember when smoking was not allowed, smoking was allowed on buses, airplanes, and workplaces. But restricting smoking in outdoor dining is just the last, and on our beaches and other parks and areas is just the next area that smoking should be restricted. It's just nonsensical that it is not, and we're hoping to have our restaurants in Sunny Isles go along with this. It's estimated that secondhand smoke from tobacco products kills approximately 41,000 non-smokers in the U.S. each year. Many outdoor restaurants in Sunny Isles have an overhang canopy or open enclosure which does not allow for the poisons from tobacco smoke to readily escape the area, causing everyone to become a secondhand smoker while dining. Restaurants throughout the country, depending upon the state, have adopted voluntary or enforceable non-smoking policies without any detriment to their revenues and to the overwhelming appreciation of diners and staff. With that said, please let's watch the following American Lung Association video by Ashley Lyerly, their Senior Director for Advocacy.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to address you this evening. My name is Ashley Lyerly, and I'm Senior Director of Advocacy for the American Lung Association. On behalf of the Lung Association and hundreds of lung health supporters and those who are impacted by lung disease, I ask you tonight to support smoke-free outdoor dining in your local community. The American Lung Association advocates nationally for smoke-free workplaces and public places statewide and in local communities to protect public health. It's important to protect your residents, workers, and visitors from exposure to secondhand smoke by encouraging businesses to extend smoke-free protections to outdoor dining experiences. Research clearly shows that exposure to secondhand smoke has a devastating impact on health. Smoke-free environments are the only proven effective way to reduce illness and to save lives. Everyone has the right to breathe smoke-free air. We strongly believe that residents and workers, regardless of industry or wage level, should be protected from exposure to secondhand smoke in the workplace and in public places. There is no safe level of exposure to secondhand smoke, and it's a serious public health problem. Even the briefest exposure is harmful. Can you imagine just being exposed for 30 minutes? That's like being exposed to one cigarette or smoking one cigarette. And what about an 8-hour work shift? That's equivalent to smoking an entire pack of cigarettes. Eliminating smoking in public places is the only proven way to protect non-smokers from exposure to secondhand smoke. So tonight, I'm asking you to effectively protect the public and employees of Sunny Isles by passing tonight's resolution to support smoke-free outdoor dining experiences. Thank you so much for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
Do you have any comments? No,
There's no public
speakers.
comments?
No
No public
public comments.
No.
So I ask that our commissioners consider and vote to approve the resolution.
I'm in agreement.
Okay, I have
I,
yes, and I'll be outvoted, but that's okay. 100% agree with the spirit of it, the content of it, but for me, as a procedural matter, I feel that we're doing a resolution to directing something that's already being addressed, that could easily just as well be handled in a discussion item or through internal, through more of an internal process. I hate walking through the smoky areas. I don't disagree with the content, the spirit, or the intention. I just feel that this is not resolution material, that we could do this, we would get the same outcome in a discussion item or somewhere in some other method. So for me, it just doesn't rise to a resolution thing, but that's okay. I'll be outvoted, it'll pass, it'll be fine. So for me, it would be a no, but that's okay.
Well, what kind of staff or resource allocation would there be, or is this?
To enforce
You
it?
have any, to implement this, the resolution? You have any thoughts on that, or this is a?
I don't think that it would be significant, but it would be a matter of us handling it through a proactive education, through social media, as well as our code officers and their regular routine visits.
Right, because it's not mandatory, it's more of a social media campaign. So for me,
Correct.
that's why I feel it's acceptable.
Okay, that's fine.
So you make the motion?
I make the motion and I present it for vote.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Item 5B, certificates of appreciation. Presented.
Yes, this is presented by Vice Mayor.
All right, so first, welcome, everyone. Thank you. It's so nice to see this, the chamber so filled with happy people. Today, we'll be honoring a lot of students for various things. It is the end of the school year, so yay. The City of Sunny Isles Beach takes great pride in recognizing individuals of all ages who enrich the fabric of our community. The athletes being recognized tonight are participants in the city's soccer and cheerleading programs, the U11 Boys Select Soccer Team, and the Starlights Cheerleading Team. Our soccer team was crowned Bronze Division champions of the United Soccer Cup and Showcase, and our cheerleaders were crowned state champions in the hip hop division. You should be very proud, and we congratulate you. And so you'll be presented with your certificates, and after my statement, there will be a few words by Eric Goldenberg. Did I
Yes.
do anything
Yeah,
out of
yeah,
order,
yeah.
or we're good to go?
Yeah, we can take them now.
So where's Eric?
Well, let's applaud them first.
Oh, Eric.
Hi, my name is Eric Goldenberg. I am the team captain of the Sunny Isles Beach soccer team U11. And on behalf of my soccer team, I'd like to thank the mayor, vice mayor, and commissioners for this recognition. I'd also like to thank the Soccer Select professionals, and special of our coach, Coach Lushane, for beginning with us for the past few years. I hope the city continues to support the SIB Soccer Select program so our team can stay together for many years to come. Lastly, I'd like to thank all the parents that drive us to practice and early morning games. Before I'd go, I'd like to share a quick video from some of our tournaments and all the fun we've had.
Meninos do CIB, boa sorte na semifinal e na final, tá? Fica com Deus, tamo junto, um abraço, tchau, tchau. Ali.
So now I'm going to ask the commission to
Oh, but
please step
before-
down.
Before we do that, Mauricio?
Yes.
Susan, did you want to tell the soccer team something about what's coming to their stadium?
I think they already know, but
Do they?
this summer, fall, probably more likely fall, but before the time change, we are going to add lights to the Senator Gwen Margolis soccer field so that your play area will be safer for you and you can practice and play longer into the evening without having to worry about darkness. So, and that's thanks to the commission for approving that contract. So thank you.
Okay. So now if you all can just step down for the pictures. And I'm going to call the students with the soccer team first, and then we'll call the cheer dance team. So Rocco Petroni. Rocco. Michael Libson. Mayor El Udighiri. I am so sorry, I'm mispronouncing it. Luca Oriano Pernia. Leonardo Calvino. Gianmarco Carcione. Eric Goldenberg. David Babakanov. Davi Redua. Benicio Prado. Ariel Ashkenazi. Alessio Corbelli. Aaron Khalifa. Tamerlan Masilimov. Kozmachev Vyacheslav. I am so sorry. Ricardo Goncalves. And now the two coaches, Lushane Brent Harris and Coach Nolan Garcia.
Can we also invite up our athletic program coordinator, Oz? Come on up. His assistant, Jermaine. Jermaine, come on up. No?
These are the ones that couldn't come. Commission, just stay here. Stay here. Stay. Okay, so now we're going to go on to the cheer program. We're going to go with Olivia Franco. Radia Walali. Ruxanda Bacala. Isabella Sampaio. Leobel Tuk. Maria Fernandez. Maria. Leora Bulatova. Kendall Fugate. Kendall. Eduarda Pinto Silva. Carolina Ribeiro. Susan Fiorina. And Sofia Sagitov. And the coach, please. Coach. Actually, Commissioner, I'm so sorry. If you all can just stay there and we'll continue with the agenda because we have 2 more items with photo ops. So the next item is item 5C, which is a certificates of appreciation presented to the students of Alonzo and Tracy Morning High School. And these are the students that presented, got a grant award. And Commissioner Lama will.
Yeah.
He wanted to.
Yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit. So, just wanted to say, incredible the job you've done. No, it's okay. So it's incredible what you've done. I mean, we have 2 teams, the team Social Seniors and Team Hear Me Out, that they competed for the FTX Hackathon, and they won awards. I mean, Team Social Seniors won $500,000 in seed money for their idea. And the idea basically, so the FTX, just to give you a little perspective, the FTX Charity Hackathon was that you had to present ideas meant to improve mental health and physical health, okay? So the idea that Social Seniors came up with was to pair up high school seniors with senior citizens to bridge the tech training and community service, okay? And this program was meant to allow participants to cultivate meaningful relationships, learn life skills, and create lasting memories that will benefit both parties' mental health and wellness. Okay, so big applause to Team Social Seniors and their award. So what's amazing is that Team Social Seniors and Team Hear Me Out competed against 90 other teams. So they you had 5 finalists, and then they were crowned winners. You know, they won awards. So just to give you a little background on what Team Hear Me Out did is this is based on an idea around the magic and the power of music and music therapy. So this paired high school and middle school students in an after-school program of bonding, you know, with instruments and digital music. So a big round of applause to both teams. This was an event that took place at the FTX Arena where the Miami Heat play. And if you look at the video, or if you go on YouTube and look at the video, it's amazing. It was a huge, huge event. You know, you had Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank there. You had David Ortiz, MLB legend. You had Udonis Haslem, also an icon for the Miami Heat. And also you had other people and celebrities that were in attendance. And you impressed Kevin O'Leary, which is something that's very hard to do. You know, he was really impressed, especially with his type of personality. So again, you know, you should feel very proud of yourselves. And if you have anything to comment, you know, I'd like to know what you learned from this. You know, it's very interesting to learn from this. And I'd like to know from you, now that you have the seed money, where are you taking this idea of yours and what are the next steps? Okay, so I don't know if somebody wants to get up and give us a little background, and then I'll give you your certificates. Come on, you're in front of 1,000 people there or more. Somebody has to get up. We want to hear from you.
Yes. No, I don't want a speech. I want to learn a little bit where are you going with this idea. I know that you're expanding the idea. You got the seed money, and what your personal takeaway was from this. You know, if there's one lesson you have to give to somebody, what was it?
What? Well, well, the program is created for the mental health of everyone in general. Sorry, it's a little nervous.
It's okay.
But yeah, generally, it's just an underrepresented population on both sides that we want to address. And yeah, no, it's something a lot of us all have in common. We all have a senior citizen in our life or a student in our lives that sometimes they're going through some hard stuff, and connecting with people helps them out a lot with that. We learned that through the pandemic. Yeah, and our next stages will start during the summer. We just want to finish school first. Yeah. Yeah, during the summer we'll take our next steps in forwarding our programs. Yeah.
Well, we first want to say thank you to the City of Sunny Isles Beach for recognizing us. You know, we really are grateful for having this opportunity. We're opening a program for the children of Miami-Dade County, and through the power of music, we can improve mental health, which is great, of course. So thank you for this opportunity.
Yes, thank you so much. And we will be implementing, hopefully, our program this summer with Miami-Dade County. And we're very excited to start our program with them. And this is just a great opportunity. Thank you for having us. And this is just going to become, you know, better for the community. So thank you.
Mayor, Commissioners, don't move. We have one more photo op. Just one more.
Yes, that group.
Commissioner Silverson, go ahead.
Okay, so the first year program, ATN Mermaids Dance Team competed at the Florida Cheer and Dance Association National Competition and won the 2022 National Competition in Contemporary and Jazz Division. So congratulations, ladies. Also, Coach Williams was named FCDA Coach of the Year. And Brigitte Bontux was awarded top soloist. So, congratulations. I want to invite Mr. Chin to say a few words of how the program got here. It's the first year of the program. So, just to say a few words, okay? Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you so much for allowing us to be here and acknowledging our students and our parents. If I could just make one point about the FTX, because to me what makes that so phenomenal is that competition was from West Palm Beach down to Monroe County, and they broke it down after multiple entries to 90 some, and they picked the finalists. So out of the 5 final teams, Miami-Dade County Public Schools, or Miami-Dade County, had 2 teams, both teams from Alonzo and Tracy Morgan Senior High School. The only 2 teams. And I think that's phenomenal. And we were the only 2 teams that came from a public school. All the other teams came from a private or a charter school. And each of the students received a $15,000 scholarship individually. So, our dance team. So I've been at Alonzo and Tracy Morgan Senior High School for 6 years now. I grew up in the dance world, competitive dance world, because I have two daughters now, 28 and 25, and that was our life. When I came, my previous high school, we had a dance team. Alonzo and Tracy Morgan Senior High School, when I got there, didn't have a dance team. I thought, why don't we have it? It's just not part of the culture. It's funding, lots of reasons. So one of my visions was to have a dance team. And for 3 years, every summer we interviewed. I said if I could find the right person, because I was not going to open a dance program without the right person. I shared my vision, and we found Coach Williams, who unfortunately is not able to be with us. And I shared my vision with him. He shared his vision with me. And did I expect them to be national champions in the first year without even a place to practice? No way. So they won regionals, and then they got full bids to the national champions. We don't have a dance studio. They do it all in the cafeteria. I told them if you're willing to be patient, we'll build it around the program. I didn't think I had to do it this fast, because now we got champions we got to cater to. But it's because of his vision. It's because of the dedication and commitment of not only of our students, but their families. And I'm just so honored and awed by their commitment and their dedication. And I thank you, ladies and gentlemen, because I don't think he's here, but we do have some male dancers. They have changed. They have helped change the culture of the school because it brings so much pride. So thank you all for doing that. And thank you all for allowing us to be here, and to our families, thank you so much. And to our FTX champions as well, so thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to call each of the students, and if we can just hold the applause until the end, so we can get this quickly. Tiana Moreland. Tatiana Alvarez. Sofia Velasco. Genesis Polo. Fatima Hernandez. Emanuela Pierre. Alina Ruzeva. Kahaja Sekator. I'm so sorry, I'm mispronouncing names. Christina Rodenbeck. Bridget Bontu, Ariella Brisk, Amanda Cartagena, Sarai Biambi, Rochelle Michelle, Nicole Luque, Melissa Blanco, Mariana Madrid, Maria Morales, Maya Walters, JC Kolahaiman. So sorry, I butchered it, I'm sorry. Jalen Warner, Jillian Olivares. This is 13.
Thank you to all.
Yes. Okay, now this.
I'll take care of it tomorrow.
Okay, item 5E. Proclamation recognizing Azerbaijan Republic Day. Okay, here we go. Smira. You always come prepared. Okay. So we have a proclamation, and I'm just going to read the proclamation. It's pretty self-explanatory, correct? So our pride for our Azerbaijani, our families, and here in this community and throughout South Florida. Whereas Azerbaijani Americans have had a strong presence within the Florida community as contributors to our regional diversity, intercultural understanding, and peace and prosperity, and whereas there are more than 46 million Azerbaijani people around the world, and for the last 100 years, they have observed May 28th as Azerbaijani Republic Day to remember the contributions of their forefathers, and whereas the Republic of Azerbaijan was one of the first nation states to grant universal suffrage rights and was recognized by other democratic nations, including the United States of America, and whereas May 28th not only marks the anniversary of the establishment of the Azerbaijan Democratic Republic in 1918, but it also provides an opportunity to honor the bonds between the United States of America and the Republic of Azerbaijan, and whereas the Republic of Azerbaijan is an ally and strategic partner of the United States and continues the beliefs of its founders' guiding principles and educates others on the common values of humanity and democracy. Now, therefore, do I, Dana Robin Goldman, as mayor, and on behalf of the City Commission of the City of Sunny Isles Beach, Florida, hereby proclaim May 28, 2022 as Azerbaijan Republic Day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, dear commissioners, mayor, everyone. It's an honor and privilege for Azerbaijani community of Florida to receive this recognition today. In fact, last year we celebrated the Republic Day together with the city officials, and many more to come. Next year, we will be waiting everyone, and we will send invitations in advance to celebrate it together again. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Here.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, we're on to zoning.
Nothing, right.
No, we have
we have
5F,
5F. Oh,
which is the audit report.
lest I forget the audit presentation.
Yes, Honorable Mayor and Commission, so we finally finished our 2021 fiscal year in audit. I actually provided each of you with a copy of the audit report, and we have Eddie Castaneda here from MSL, our audit firm. With this fiscal year, this is their last year as our audit firm, so I did want to thank him and the staff and the shareholders for their service for the past 6 years and their advice. So he has a brief presentation for you guys, and if you have any quick questions, he can answer them. Otherwise, you can stop by my office or call me or send me an email. So without further ado.
Thank you.
Good evening, Commission. How is everyone? I do also want to share the same sentiment and thanking Tiffany Neely and her team for the past 6 years. It's been great. And on to the presentation. So required communications that were required from our professional audit standards to communicate to those in charge with governance, which is the City Commission, is certain requirements that we have to present to you, such as our responsibilities. Our auditor responsibilities is to conduct our audit in according to governmental accounting standards, quote unquote the yellow book standards, as well as generally accepted accounting practices. Management's responsibility is to be forthcoming and to provide information as we request it, not withhold any information or access to information, which I'd like to say that has never been the case within the city, very transparent. Some internal controls and compliance, which I'll get to in a later slide. Any significant matters, there's two numbers in that 150-page document, which are based on estimates, which is the city's net pension liability, as well as their OPEB liability, which is based off of actuarial data that they project a current liability into the future over 30 years. So we have to bring that to your attention on significant accounting estimates. Also management representation. The city has represented that they have provided us with all information that we've requested, as well as being, like I said, forthcoming and transparent. The assigned individual to our audit was Tiffany Neely, as well as her staff, and that the audit schedule went according to plan as communicated previously in our planning communications to the City Commission on, I believe that was December 21st. We sent out a letter to you all. So some of our reports that are services and deliverables is one is our audit report, which is, we're happy to say that it was an unmodified opinion. That's the quote clean opinion. There wasn't any significant changes within the document, as well as our report of internal control. As government auditing standards, we have to evaluate the city's internal controls, and we're happy to say that there is no significant deficiencies or material weaknesses within the design of the city's internal controls as it relates to the financial statements. We also issue a letter called the Independent Auditor's Management Letter, which is required by the Florida Auditor General, that has specific Florida statutes that the city has to comply with. We're happy to say that there was no issues within the management letter as well. We also issue an independent accountants report, also required by the Florida Auditor General, on the city's compliance with the Florida statute regarding investment compliance. We're happy to say that the city appears to be in compliance with that statute. And we also, new to this year, is the independent auditor's report on compliance with major programs. This is depending on the amount of grants that the city make any year, will trigger a single audit. We conducted a single audit this year, and we're happy to say that there was no findings regarding that. Some quick financial highlights in the general fund. As you can see, the city had a very healthy year in terms of their net change in the fund balance was approximately 10.4 million. This is a result of the CARES Act grant that the city received, as well as higher than noted utility taxes, as well as franchise fees. As you can see, there's the variances in some of the budget information. Again, it's that 10.4 million, where you could see that the city actually outperformed their revenue at approximately 5.8 million, and their budgeted expenditures actually was lower than budgeted at around $8 million. The stormwater fund, that this is pretty base level from the previous year. We haven't seen any major variance, high or low. It's pretty consistent within that fund. And any questions or comments? Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you. No action?
To do.
Okay. So are we on to item 6A?
Let's do. Mayor, can we do, I wanted to clarify something before we move to. I spoke with Commissioner Joseph, and I wanted to clarify, I know last month we approved the historic board appointments, but I wanted to go through and designate each appointment from each of the elected officials. For the historic board for this year, the mayor has chosen Warren Stamm. Commissioner Stuyvesant has chosen Robin Chickley. Norman Edelcup is going to be at large. Vice Mayor Vizcarra has chosen Yvette Francola. Commissioner Lama has chosen Joel Levine. Commissioner Joseph has chosen Elizabeth Morales, and then another at large, Mark Snyder. This is just for clarification and point of information.
Okay. Thank you. Move on to zoning. Okay.
An error last month that I was hoping would be corrected.
There was an error last month where it was voted when this committee was mentioned that I had said that I wasn't aware of the committee members, that I had a pick on the committee according to city code, and I was voted down to put that committee reference off for a month. And I was voted down by 3 commission members, which was incorrect. I should have, at that time, it should have been stated that each commissioner does have a committee pick.
Well, I think the commission voted for the members as a group, and so I think the vote stands as it is, and this is just a point of clarification.
have no further comment.
Okay.
Like to move on.
Move on to 6A.
Move on to 6A, okay? Here's the opening statement. Ladies and gentlemen, this evening's agenda has one zoning application. In these matters, the Commission sits in a quasi-judicial capacity. The decision of whether or not to approve a zoning variance is not a popularity contest, but must be based upon substantial, competent evidence as it is presented tonight. If you intend to provide testimony on any zoning application, you must be sworn in by the city clerk, and you should also fill out a public speaker's card and give it to the city clerk before the item is called. We will first hear from city staff and then from the applicant. After this, I will allow anyone from the audience who has been sworn in to provide testimony. The zoning applicant has the right to cross-examine any witness and for rebuttal. Please make your comments concisely. Mr. City Clerk, please read your introductory zoning statement.
In accordance with the LDRs of the City of Sunny Isles Beach, all items to be heard today have been legally advertised in the newspapers, notices have been mailed, and posted on the properties. All persons wishing to speak at this hearing, please raise your right arm to be sworn in.
I have one.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, and before we continue, Madam Mayor, are there any ex parte communications for 6A, the zoning application, for the official zoning map?
So I've had prior discussions about the disposition of that sales center with a couple of individuals, with Joseph Isaacoff and Max Nissim. And Juan Crespi actually sent some schematic about there was some proposed sketch of that area prior to the commission meeting.
Thank you. Commissioner.
I would like to say also that I've had a meeting with several golden.
Commissioner, I'm so sorry. Could you speak into the mic, please?
I also had a discussion with several Golden Shores residents. Amongst them were Juan Crespi, Brandon Schneider, Rumi, I don't know Rumi's last name, was present, Stephen Tratner. I believe that was it. Thank you.
I spoke with Juan Crespi and with Stephen Tratner.
Thank you.
About it, yes.
I also communicated with Stephen Tratner, email and phone, and also Mr. Crespi.
I had a conversation, we talked a little bit about it with the former Vice Mayor Lou Taylor, and I can't remember, but some resident was talking to me about making it a daycare. Just don't remember who was. It was during campaign. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, we can continue.
There was a discussion, a woman, but that was way before any proposal.
Correct.
Some woman expressed an interest in that, converting that to a daycare center, but.
Yeah, I just don't remember don't remember the name.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Continue,
we'll proceed.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Mark Alvarez with the Cordino Group, in capacity tonight as the Planning and Zoning staff. I have a report for this. This is a rezoning for the property at 215 185th Street. We are the city is the applicant to rezone this property from medium-density townhouse to community facilities. The property, this hearing is the second hearing. The first hearing was on March 15th, and we do have a companion item for the land use designation on the comprehensive plan tonight, since that is one of the criteria. This was also, public notices were sent out on May 2nd of this year, and it was posted. There are criteria for the rezoning of this is a map amendment for the rezoning of land in Sunny Isles. It meets all the criteria, including all of the criteria for concurrency, which also includes a traffic study that has been analyzed and found to be, there is a positive recommendation to go forward. It is consistent with the zoning map. It would still act as a buffer between the commercial and the single family neighborhood to the west. And of course, this property is owned by the city. It was part of a transfer of development rights by Turnberry Ocean Club. The property, although there are changes in the density and intensity on this property, by going from townhouse to community facilities, it is, in effect, there is no change because all of the rights as a donor site, all of the development rights on that property are no longer on that property. So tonight's hearing is just about the rezoning to allow that to go to townhouse, to community facilities, so that the city may use that as a public facility for the neighborhood and the residents at large. We are not in a discussion about the use. That is up to the will of the council in its capacity as the city. If there's any questions?
We'll have public speaker. But we have a public speaker card process.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yelena Gorinsky. If you'd like to, can you come up to the podium, please, and state your name and address for the record? Thank you.
Hello, my name is Yelena Gurinsky. I'm a Sunny Isle resident and I represent Millennium Condominiums. I have the following questions. We all would like to know what exactly public use means or community facility. We saw in a document that it's going to be 17 floors built. What exactly would be built? And what exactly, how are you going to be addressing parking situation and traffic situation? What does it mean that Sunny Isles gave green light? You know, we already cannot travel, especially between like hours of 12 to 4 p.m. It's impossible to drive through Collins. So we do like to know how you're going to address parking and traffic situation. And another question, we all have safety and community crime. What exactly will be built? We want to know. And I think many people who are here would like to know the answers to the questions I just presented.
Thank you. I can speak, or I can speak. I mean, this is essentially a zoning hearing. This is only to change the future land use to run consistent with the restrictive covenant that was imposed on the property, you know, many years ago. So, as stated in the restrictive covenant, the city agrees to develop, maintain, and own the property for community facility purposes, including but not limited to an open space park, parking areas, and/or cultural facilities. So there's really no intent to build a 17-story high-rise or any large structure on that small.
But what would be exactly?
So we're
exactly would be built? What kind of community facility?
So we're not the narrow purpose of this particular hearing is to redesignate the zoning, not to determine what is the ultimate disposition of the underlying property. But clearly, the idea is that there is a current structure on that property, and in order for it to be fulfilled in its current state, we need the rezoning to repurpose this as a community facility. There is no plan to demolish that structure and then put up a high-rise or change the parking or any other configuration. It's only to fulfill the intent of, you know, creating a zoning that allows for a community facility.
Yes, ma'am, we understand that. But if it's a community facility, people who are going to drive to this facility would have to park somewhere.
Well, there are parking spaces.
Exactly?
There are parking spaces on the property, right?
Yes.
There is existing parking spaces.
6 spaces now. Where, you know, if it's a public community or public community facility use, where the rest of the people are going to park?
we're not looking to build a parking garage on that facility. We're just looking to
Well, we
change
all
the
have
zoning.
concern. I think everybody who live in that particular area have a serious concern about it.
Mm-hmm.
And we would like to have more information. Again, what exactly is going to be built? Is it going to be public use? Can be anything.
So
Anything.
this,
What would be built?
we're going to be, again, the narrow purpose of this is to clear up the zoning, because that area, that sales center, the idea is to allow that to have a use allow the use of that as a community facility. The intent is not to redesign or reconstruct or add more parking spaces or build any high-rise. And there's no current change of the actual physical structure or improvements to it. There is only the idea that in order for it to be utilized for community purposes, it has to be rezoned in that capacity.
You still did
Okay,
not
may
answer the
I
questions had.
speak to this?
Okay.
Maybe I can ma'am? Hi.
Hi.
Okay, it's, right, let me put it as like as simple as I can. Right now, the way that the land is zoned, the rules that surround this piece of land, make it so that the city can't use it. Okay, we're not interested in building townhomes, right, as a city. So we need to change the rules around the land so that we can use it. That's it. That's all we're doing. I understand you have questions. Well, no, please let me finish. In terms of there's future concerns, what are you going to do? We haven't had that conversation yet. You're asking for specifics we can't give you because we haven't gotten there yet. Before we even get there, we have to change the rules around it so that we can make it usable. And then we're going to talk about what are we going to put on there. The community can give the feedback. We'll make the studies. All those questions that you have are valid, and they are definitely things that we're going to take into consideration when we get to that part. But right now, we're just trying to make the land usable, and we don't have those answers.
Okay, then my question is, if currently there are only 6 parking spots, and Mrs. Mayor already told us that from the traffic point of view, you already gotten the green light, but we all disagree because traffic is horrendous. So if we give okay to the public space, it's going to be out of our control.
To further the Vice Mayor's point, we can't utilize the space for anything right now other than as a townhome, which is what it's currently zoned for. So until we change the zoning, we cannot fulfill anything on that space. We can't utilize it at all. But we're not here to make a determination. We're not adding parking spaces.
Who made the decision that it's okay from the traffic point of view?
There's
How
no,
this decision was made?
it's really not a traffic consideration. We're not adding parking spaces. We're not adding any structures. We're not changing the parking situation. We're just rezoning it so that we can utilize that for community purposes.
Okay, but building parking spots
May I
and
say
building...
something?
Mayor, with all due respect, we're way past the 3-minute allotment.
Yes. Okay.
And if the lady has any questions, you can contact the city manager's office and have those questions addressed.
I would just like to say, if I can, that at this moment, there's no consideration for parking. Basically, at this point, we're just trying to modify the property to have it be usable and considered for the reasons of this meeting. It's to be considered as a walkable, usable space.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Ma'am, you can't speak from the audience, sorry. So
Thank
we'd
you.
like to proceed.
Thank you.
Somebody?
I have no other public speaker cards, so I'd like to open it up to the floor if anyone on the commission has any questions or comments?
Yeah, not at this moment.
I think we've pretty well discussed this on the first reading, and I think we're in consensus and agreement about, the need to, again, rezone the property for the fulfillment of that purpose, for community purposes.
Correct.
So with that, if somebody wants to make a motion?
I'll second.
And then you have a roll call?
Yes, ma'am. Commissioner Joseph? Commissioner Lama?
Yes.
Commissioner Stuyvesant?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Viscara?
Yes.
Mayor Goldman?
Yes.
The application is approved.
Okay. Item
7A.
7A.
7A is an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Sunny Isles Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 193 Noise of the City of Sunny Isles Beach Code of Ordinances, providing for definition of terms, providing for additional standards of sound measurement, repealing the exemption for noise generated within an existing condominium, providing for repealer, providing for severability, providing for codification, providing for an effective date. And this is first reading.
Okay, so I'd like to just read the cover memorandum on this. The creation of excessive noise is a condition which has existed for some time and is a hazard to the public health, welfare, and safety, and the quality of life for the residents and visitors of the city. Chapter 193 of the city's code was adopted with the stated purpose of limiting excessive noise that interferes with the comfortable enjoyment of life, property, recreation, or conduct of business in the city. At this point in time, there is a need to more effectively control and abate noise pollution throughout the city. This ordinance provides for an enforcement mechanism which will include a plainly audible standard of sound measurement for violating noises. It promotes and encourages the citizens and businesses of the city to comply with the city's noise regulations, as this ordinance provides more clarity on the regulated activity and violations. So, where I sit, I receive continuous and ongoing complaints and concerns and challenges on our noise issue. And in fact, the residents from Millennium Condominium who just came up or were here, some residents in that building actually have voiced complaints and concerns about noise pollution. And I want to just, acknowledge our Assistant City Attorney, Valerie Vincente. We've gone through months of discussion and analysis and review of comparable ordinances in other municipalities to figure out how can we make our city's ordinance have a little more teeth or have more enforceability, so that when people have noise issues or objections, that there's a way to enforce that. While we know that we can't enforce easily, and I'll defer to our police department on that, the cars, the aftermarket mufflers and things like that, certainly the noise complaints that we receive from buildings in the area that emanate from other buildings, that's something where currently our ordinance excludes condominiums. So we want, in this proposed language, we want to eliminate that exclusion so that if there is a noise complaint or a noise factor emanating from an adjoining building, that there is some recourse for a condominium dweller. In addition, the standards in the existing ordinance are somewhat restrictive in that we just have 60 decibels. But the operative provision in this particular ordinance is that what is considered a prohibited activity would be the source of sound in such a manner as to create continuous airborne sound which exceeds 60 decibels, exceeds the ambient sound level, is plainly audible at a distance of 100 feet from the source of the noise, or is plainly audible from any exterior edge of a building, structure, or vehicle if the noise is emanating from a building, structure, or vehicle. And then it goes into some technical aspects, but the whole policy and the rationale for this is to have a better ordinance that gives more opportunity for enforcement by expanding, the idea of what is prohibited, and hopefully create a better just a better noise ordinance that's something that residents can have some recourse with. So Valerie, I don't know if you have any other comments or add-ons to that, what we've described.
No, Mayor, that was very thorough. Thank you.
Okay. We've been working on this for a while, so we do get a lot of calls and a lot of complaints. Of course, we know that the noise that emanates from the waterways is not something that our city has jurisdiction over. We know that with the aftermarket mufflers in the cars, it's not something that really is in our basket, but certainly from a code or the magistrate or this, the city perspective, at least we're going to try to give a little more teeth to our existing ordinance. So with that, if anybody has any questions.
I have a question, Mayor. Now, what if we have a group of people on a private property that is being boisterous? Would that come under this ordinance?
Well, that's more of a call the police nuisance factor. I don't know if that's a noise ordinance. That's more of a, right? Chief Santiago, it sounds like a nuisance to me. It's not exactly, but if they're playing loud music at midnight and it's a disturbance of the peace, that's something that's a little different, right? It's not people yelling and hollering, it's more of a, of audio equipment or so forth. So that's something different.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No. With that being said,
Before, just to confirm, or for the record, we have no public speakers.
No public speakers on this item.
Anything that gives us a better enforcement opportunity is a good thing. So with that, I move to approve.
Taken.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do
So
a
roll
roll
call.
call. Roll
Roll
call.
call.
Roll call.
Commissioner Lama?
Yes.
Commissioner Stuyvesant?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Viscara?
Yes.
Commissioner Joseph? Commissioner, Mayor Goldman? Apologies.
Yes.
The ordinance passes on first reading. Second reading will be scheduled for June.
Thank you. Item 7B.
7B is an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Sunny Isles Beach, Florida, repealing Section 33-5 entitled Cone of Silence Opt-out of the City of Sunny Isles Beach Code of Ordinances, repealing ordinance number 2002-148, providing for repealer, providing for severability, providing for notice to Miami-Dade County Commission on Ethics, providing for codification, providing for an effective date, and this is first reading.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, and City Manager's Office. For the record, my name is Genesis Cuevas. I am the Purchasing Manager for the City of Sunny Isles Beach, and I also am the Vice President of the South Florida Purchasing Cooperative Group. This evening, I am presenting the Cone of Silence. The Cone of Silence is associated with the procurement bidding process. The Cone of Silence is imposed the moment a formal solicitation in the form of an ITB, an RFP, or an RFQ is released to the public. To clarify, an ITB is an invitation to bid, an RFP is a request for proposals, and an RFQ is a request for qualifications. The Cone of Silence restricts all communications between interested bidders, city staff, mayor, and commissioners other than the purchasing division. The purchasing division will be responsible for notifying all city staff, the mayor, and commissioner's office that the subject solicitation is now posted to the public and the Cone of Silence is now in effect. Meaning when purchasing releases a bid or an RFQ to the street, you will receive an email from the purchasing division saying the subject solicitation is now under the Cone of Silence. During the advertisement period, which usually ranges from about 15 to 30, 45 days, if any interested bidders have any questions or if they need any clarifications, all communication must be submitted to the purchasing division. In turn, purchasing will address those questions and those clarifications via an addendum. All addendums are made available to the public. The sole purpose of the cone of silence is to protect the integrity of the bidding process. Having the cone of silence in place ensures that all bidders have access to the same information for the purpose of transparency and impartiality. The cone of silence is terminated at the time the city manager issues a written recommendation to award a contract or to reject the solicitation. At that moment, in a public commission meeting, the cone of silence is lifted. So at that moment, the cone of silence is terminated. With that being said, if you have any questions, I am happy to address them.
We have no public speaker cards, no public speakers, so we can open this up to the commission.
I have a question. Is it true that we're the only city in Dade County who does not participate with a cone of silence? Or does not act with a cone of silence?
This is true, yes.
Okay.
The only government agency in Miami-Dade County. The cone of silence is best practice in public procurement.
Okay.
Since 2002, right?
The city opted out of the cone of silence in 2001.
2001.
That would have been my question. How did this happen, that we're the only city in the county that doesn't have it?
Yes.
So it's...
And why would the city have opted out?
This was in 2001, prior administration.
But there must have been some reasoning.
Okay. No, that was...
None of us were here. We couldn't possibly know why they did that.
But this certainly is a best practice.
Absolutely,
And it's really,
yes.
it yields to a better level of procurement
transparency.
and transparency,
Yes,
absolutely. So with that being said, if you have any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question. So in case one of these companies that is bidding or is, fulfilling an RFP, they contact us, we're supposed to, refer them to the city clerk or
You
to
will refer them to the purchasing
Or to
division.
you.
Yes, and I will address their questions,
You'll
any
address their
clarifications
questions.
via an addendum.
So,
Okay.
so it's natural for anyone on the commission to receive inquiries, right? As to, I'm interested in doing X, Y, and Z, I want to bring in this service or whatever, but certainly that doesn't impede that process.
That's correct. Only
It's
the
only-
formal solicitations.
Right, so it's only when there's a formal RFP,
RFP,
right,
or a bid,
or
yes.
bid. And so that being the case, there will be some notification, so you will notify the commission, hey, we've initiated this process, therefore that's when the cone of silence starts, right?
That is correct. The same day we release the solicitation to the public, that same day simultaneously, all city staff, mayor, and commissioners will receive an email from me with the subject solicitation stating the solicitation is now under the cone of silence.
And
And then that's lifted the day you advise us on what company was picked or the day that the contract is signed?
The cone of silence is terminated the day the city manager makes the recommendation in a public meeting to either award the contract to a contractor or to reject the
Or to
solicitation.
reject it? Okay.
So let's, if you don't mind, so let's take, for example, the lights for the soccer field. So when would that originally come to bidding?
That's a really good question. So the soccer field was actually a piggyback. We are piggybacking another agency who formally did that solicitation, so it's just a piggyback, so the cone of silence does not apply to piggybacks.
I see.
The cone of silence applies to the solicitations that the city issues.
Okay, so just as an example, let's say we had another project that was going out for bidding. When would a commissioner ever know that there was something that needed bidding? Let's say maybe they had particular knowledge as to a product that might work, that might be applicable for a better price.
The solicitations are requested are funneled to me through the project managers to department heads. They let me know when to start the solicitation process.
Right, but it might never be that a commissioner ever gets wind of it, correct?
I'm sorry, I'm not understanding the question.
If there's a product that the city is looking to purchase, the commissioners don't always know about those purchases, correct?
Per our purchasing code of ordinance, all purchases over 50,000 must be approved by the mayor and commissioners.
Okay, but at that point, the product has already been purchased?
No.
No? So, okay, so when that comes to the commission for approval, then we know that that's first going out for bid after we approve it, correct?
No, if I may, Genesis, you will, once this is approved, if there is a bid that goes out, RFQ, RFP, you will send an email to everyone that says, this bid has been let, you are not to speak with anyone further until.
But at
the
what
meeting.
point do we have an opportunity to investigate a better product? Ever?
So you will know when we go out to bid, she will send that email. So it's on, you can see what the bid is and know what's out there. And I would guess that if you had any questions, concerns, you could go to the purchasing agent, just as a resident could.
Okay, so there is a time frame between the actual acceptance of an offer and when it's being bid out?
Yeah.
Where we could have some input if we had that interest?
When the item is placed on the agenda, yes.
Right, okay, thank you.
So this just preserves the integrity, right? It's the idea is to block out any undue influence that a provider might have as to somebody who's voting on that matter, a commissioner, correct?
That is correct.
That's really the whole spirit and purpose. It's not about finding the best price or the best vendor. It's to preserve the integrity of the bidding process itself.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
I make a motion.
Do we have a second? Do we do a roll call?
Commissioner Stuyvesant,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Vizcarra,
Yes.
Commissioner Joseph,
Yes.
Commissioner Lama,
Yes.
Mayor Goldman.
Yes.
The ordinance passes on first reading. Second reading will be scheduled for June.
Thank you, Genesis. Item 7C.
Mayor, we're going to group 7C with its companion item number 10AB, which
Good.
is agreements to it, okay? So I'll read both titles into the record. 7C is an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Sunny Isles Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 251, Property Assessed Clean Energy Program of the City of Sunny Isles Beach Code of Ordinances, providing for clarification of terms, revising program standards, providing for repealer, providing for severability, providing for codification, providing for an effective date. This is first reading, and its companion item number 10AB is a resolution approving an interlocal agreement with Florida PACE Funding Agency and an indemnification agreement with its third-party administrator, Northbridge ESG LLC.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the Commission, in 2018, the city adopted the PACE program, which is the Property Assessed Clean Energy Program. It's related to sustainability, and it was for residential properties. There's now a commercial part to the PACE program. This revision allows for that commercial component and enters into an agreement for funding for the commercial part of it with one of our commercial properties.
Do we have any other comment, or that's it?
Nothing further.
Perhaps you can just, any background on the PACE program itself and what it is, its intent, and
All we're doing in this ordinance is taking out the commercial PACE from the rest of the ordinance. All of the remaining protections for residential property owners who want to use the PACE program remain in effect.
Okay. We have no public speakers on this item, so
So any comments from the commission?
I don't know how, I'm just curious, even if the PACE, the residential side, if it's ever been really implemented or it's had any efficacy.
Not here, but in other parts of the state, it's very popular.
Is it because of the way it's
residents probably
written?
don't even know
or-
what it is.
No, it's because people get to have improvements to their homes and have the bill placed on their tax bill every year so that they pay it off as they pay off their taxes.
And what is the interest on something like that? Is it a low interest?
I have no idea, Commissioner. I'm sure it's competitive.
If you want to step up,
Sarasota, and I represent Fortified Financial. We are a PACE provider with the FPFA. So PACE was created to provide an alternative financing method for those that want to have energy efficient wind mitigation improvements, and you pay it back over time on your tax bill. It's just for commercial and for residential. We haven't done a lot of business here in residential, just frankly, it's for folks that may not have the highest FICO scores, but have equity in their properties and have demonstrated appropriate home ownership, financially speaking, in terms of their mortgage payments on time and tax payments on time, et cetera, no liens on the property, but they wish to leverage that equity in order to make these improvements to protect their primary asset, which is technically their homes. So commercial, this is what is the item today. Commercial, this is basically bifurcating the residential and the commercial and allowing the commercial, which operates a bit differently. Those are usually transactions handled by attorneys rather than homeowners. And so this allows them to operate here in the city. And I know one of our providers has a project that has been under consideration, and they'd like to utilize PACE financing, which rates tend to be from 5 to 8%. So it's very, very competitive with what you will see in the market today.
Right. I know historically, low income doesn't equal low rates, unfortunately.
That's why our program really has a place here in Florida, because it does allow folks to make those important improvements, replace an HVAC, put impact windows and doors on their properties, and pay it back over time on your tax roll. And it is a fully amortized. It's not a variable rate; it's a fixed rate, and everything is discussed up front. Disclosures. It looks very much like other financial products that are out there. But again, this is really just to focus on commercial, which is far more relevant here in Sunny Isles Beach.
Right, and trap-free? No traps?
No, sir, there's no traps.
this is for the commercial sector, so it's not,
Okay.
Yes,
caveat emptor doesn't apply, right, to
Very
this
well
commercial sector.
Very well put, Mayor.
So,
I'll go on the card.
I'm pleased to see this because, it's a specialty type lending mechanism, right? So if the commercial sector, which is well-armed and well represented by counsel and so forth, if this has some benefit to the commercial sector and it's a product that can be utilized, I'm certainly in favor of it.
It replaces mezzanine financing. Mezzanine financing typically ranges from 10, 12 to 15% oftentimes. We're able to do that for far less, 6, 8% on average. So it's for commercial developers, it can be a very effective tool for their developments and redevelopments.
Right.
Can you pay off the loan early?
Anytime you want.
And
Now,
without
commercial has
penalty?
different standards around that. Those are, but for the residential side, there's absolutely no prepayment penalty.
There's no
You can pay off
prepayment,
anytime.
but for commercial, there's different terms.
It depends on how they structure the deal.
Okay.
That's usually typically with how the market works.
Yeah, it's too bad that on the residential side, it hasn't taken root in our community, but certainly it could be of value and efficacy to the commercial sector, so. That being said.
Absolutely. And, I'd have to check with my sales team. I actually didn't have a chance to connect with them today. I'm not sure how much business has been done, but it's certainly something that's available.
So that can be used for roofing?
Correct.
For windows?
Correct.
Air conditioning?
Correct.
Anything?
Yes.
Okay.
Those are the primary. I mean, you can do charging for your EV.
Right.
You can do, batteries, with the solar and storage, all that kind of good stuff.
Right. Okay, good.
Energy efficient.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hopefully,
Thank you for
our
clarifying.
residents will start to take advantage.
I hope so too, sir.
And our businesses.
Yes.
Okay, that being said, unless anybody has any other comments, can I take a motion?
So
Can somebody
moved.
give a motion?
Second.
Roll call?
Vice Mayor Viscara,
Yes.
Commissioner Joseph,
Yes.
Commissioner Lama,
Yes.
Commissioner Stubisson,
Yes.
Mayor Goldman.
Yes.
The ordinance passes on first reading. Second reading will be for June, and its companion item 10AB is adopted.
Okay. Next item?
Next item is 9A, ordinances for second reading, and this is an ordinance for the City Commission of the City of Sunny Isles Beach, Florida, approving an amendment to the City of Sunny Isles Beach Comprehensive Plan Future Land Use Map pursuant to the Small-Scale Comprehensive Plan Amendment Procedures in Sections 163.3187 of the Florida statutes for a 0.672 acre parcel located at 215 185th Street, Sunny Isles Beach, Florida 33160, from low to medium density residential to community facilities, approving the transmittal of the amendment to the Department of Economic Opportunity and reviewing agencies in accordance with Section 163.3187 of the Florida statutes, providing for severability, providing for repealer, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for an effective date. And this is second and final reading.
Good evening. Mark Alvarez of Coordinating Group in capacity as your planning and zoning staff for the city. I think the clerk almost said it all. This is the companion item to the zoning hearing. This would create the compatibility between the zoning and the future land use map. The amendment is a map amendment. It is for low medium density residential to community facility. Again, this is in support of the ultimate direction of creating a community facility there. This is the second reading. It is a small scale amendment, so the process is not one for intergovernmental review. This simply will be transmitted to the Department of Economic Opportunity, and that is it. It's pretty much done at that point, and then the ordinance becomes effective 45 days later. If you have any questions, thank you.
We have no public speakers.
We do, actually, Mayor. I made a mistake. I incorrectly labeled that one as 13. That's from Jody, but actually she wants to speak on this item.
On this item?
Yes.
Oh,
Jody?
That's my girl.
Hi, Jody Joseph, 18560 North Bay Road. A few meetings back, I heard somebody just casually skate through the fact that the Turnberry property, somebody had a deal on it, and it was supposedly $5,000 a month rent. Is that correct? $5,000 a month rent, and it went on for 5 years, and it came out that someone made a mistake, and they were letting them occupy that space free of charge. Now, this becomes a snowball effect because we have several questions and nobody ever answers anything on the dais. And then 2 months go by and 3 months go by and 4 months go by. So I was reading something that you can converse with the residents. So I'd like to know whatever came of that, because that's 5,000, 12, 60,000 times 5 years. We're looking at $300,000. And I'd like to know who was responsible for that contract, number one. And number two, who didn't follow up on it? I mean, there's something. That's taxpayer money. I have another issue on taxpayer money as well. But not all of you are here. The other excuse, you said it was, what, 2001, no one was here? But I'm sure there was quite a few of you that were here at that time, so.
Jody, this never, that lease never came up to the commission. So I want to credit, it was the finance department that, how was this uncovered? Because this issue of this never came up to the dais.
Oh, I heard it when I was back here. This happened like 2 or 3 months ago.
No. What you're describing is something that happened 5 years ago, but it was never raised to our attention, and it was only recently uncovered, and it wasn't $300,000.
Well, that's the problem. That's exactly my point. That's the issue. How come it wasn't uncovered? We have government, people working that are getting salaries. How did somebody, unless it wasn't a mistake, let somebody rent or use a great piece of property like that, which they're charging $5,000 a month for, and no one caught it?
Jody, it wasn't $300,000, and
it wasn't it $5,000 a month?
I'd like to defer to our city attorney.
I don't have the agreement here. We weren't prepared for this conversation, obviously, but what we did was we settled with Turnberry for $150,000 in past rent and $155,000 in change, not to demolish the property, which was they were supposed to do pursuant to the terms of the lease. So we asked them not to do it, and they paid the city $155,000 on top of the $150,000 in past due rent.
But what about the interest? Did anybody calculate the interest?
There was no interest calculated
So
on
you
that.
just let some, I'm just wondering if I want to
We'd
loan
nego-
for any of the residents.
We negotiated a settlement. That's,
Okay.
yeah, people may not like it, but that's what we did.
Could I just ask who negotiated that settlement?
I don't.
Do we get to know that as well?
I don't know. Do you remember, Tiff?
I mean,
No, but we just asked for past due rent.
but somebody has to look out for the residents and say,
Yeah,
how
I
did this
get it.
happen? It's a fair question, is it not?
I think we also, from the commission,
When-
we
well, Commissioner,
administrative.
when it came to our attention, we do not.
That's exactly right,
We do
when
not
it came-
administer, we don't administer contracts on behalf of the city. We draft them, and when it came to our attention that rent had not been paid, then we negotiated a settlement with them, which was acceptable to management.
Correct, but it's not, you would have to probably ask the prior city manager, really,
We need to
because
get-
the
we
current
need to
city
get to the bottom
manager.
of this. Just
I'm sorry?
honestly, we need to get to the bottom of this.
But the current city manager obviously was not apprised of
Well, it was
this.
quite a few years ago, so there was a different, maybe mayor or commissioner, but there were
It's,
commissioners. so-
if it didn't rise to the level of being in the book or the agenda, the commission wouldn't have known about it.
Dana, we have to just, I mean, if I wanted a loan, can I have a loan like that at no interest?
Okay.
For 5 years and then.
Jody,
I
I'd
think the
be
point
happy
is-
to direct you to the city manager for that inquiry.
Yeah, I don't even think you were here at that time, so it may not have been you, but the attorney. But thank you. If you could just, supply us with an explanation, it would be greatly appreciated. It's a lot of money.
Thank you. Okay, so we have no other speakers?
No, ma'am.
Unless we have any comments, this is a second reading. I think the intent is clear here.
Yep.
I make a
So-
motion.
Anyone, second? Second.
Okay. Commissioner Joseph?
Yes.
Commissioner Lama?
Yes.
Commissioner Stuyvesant?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Viscara?
Yes.
Mayor Goldman?
Yes.
The ordinance is adopted.
Okay, moving on to the next item.
Okay, so we are now in the resolution sections, and I'd just like to take this moment, Mayor, if I may, to remind anyone that's in the audience, if you have any interest in speaking on any item that's listed in the resolutions, that you do so before the item is called. Okay, thank you. Okay, 10A, a resolution waiving the bidding requirements set forth in Chapter 62 of the City Code, approving an agreement with Gravoy Aluminum Boats LLC, doing business as Metal Shark, for the purchase of a marine patrol vessel.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commission. This is agreement with Gravios Aluminum Boats, doing business as Metal Shark. We're seeking approval from the Commission to enter into an agreement with Gravios Aluminum Boats to build and deliver a police marine patrol vessel to replace our current vessel from 2007. Utilizing forfeiture funds approved in April 2022, the services of the vendor are being procured through General Services Administration contract for an amount not to exceed $310,677.39. Although most components are purchased at GSA rates pursuant to Section 62-12 of the City Code, we are seeking to waive competitive bidding procedures to purchase custom parts totaling $8,011.40.
Forfeiture funds.
Yes, ma'am.
Refresh my memory on that. We don't have no public speakers on this
No, ma'am.
item. Okay. With the second vessel, with the existing vessel, what are we doing with the current vessel?
Well, the current vessel, we're going to continue to use it until this vessel comes in, and we'll assess the second vessel at that time to see if it's financially responsible to keep it or or sell it.
Okay. Well, we like the forfeiture fund for that purpose, and it's a well-needed acquisition, correct?
Yes, it is, Mayor.
Okay. Comments from the commission, or can I have a motion?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Okay, next
10.
forfeiture?
10B is a resolution approving an agreement with Millennium Products, Inc. for the upgrades to the citywide security system.
Again, we're here to seek approval to enter into an agreement with Millennium Products, Inc. to modernize and upgrade our citywide CCTV system, utilizing forfeiture funds that were approved back in January of 2022. The services of the vendor are being procured through the General Service Administration contract for an amount not to exceed $303,374.68.
I have no public speakers on this item. Any questions?
No.
Cameras, huh?
How extensive is our camera system?
So we're going to do, phase one is we're going to modernize and upgrade our current system and get it working to its full potential. And then phase two, I can have my capital projects coordinator, he'll tell you the plans for phase two.
The total investment by forfeiture fund so far has been about $2 million.
Yes.
So this will modernize the system, get everything operational, and then moving forward, we're looking to expand the project.
Excellent. And anyone that's looking to come to the city and do mischief, they should know that this is not a secret, and we're going to be watching.
Absolutely.
Big Brother.
Sounds so Orwellian, we're watching you.
Big Brother.
Well, it's the nature of the beast and the times we live in.
Right, but there's a limit to the surveillance cameras where we can install them, correct?
We don't, Mayor, I'm sorry, we don't want to discuss the specifics of
Yes.
our police operations. So we would just ask for a motion and move the item forward.
Thank you so much, absolutely.
Make a
So do I
motion.
have a motion?
Yes.
So move?
I'll second.
Second, all in
Yes.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next item,
10C is a resolution approving a memorandum of understanding between the City of Sunny Isles Beach and the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office for the use of the Florida Facial Recognition Network.
So again, we're seeking approval for a memorandum of understanding with Pinellas County Sheriff's Office for investigative access to the Florida Facial Recognition Network. FRNet will provide investigators with facial biometric recognition, search capabilities, and face image analysis methods will remain compliant with FDLE requirements.
And how much does this one cost?
Nothing.
It's absolutely free.
We love it.
Nothing. Exactly. So I make a motion?
Second?
So this is just through Pinellas County, correct? They're doing MOUs with different municipalities and
Yeah, so
getting
we
them
can
to
have-
sign up?
So we can have access to their database for our investigators as a tool to solve crimes.
And how many jurisdictions are in this program? Is it pretty,
So FDLE invested in the program through Pinellas County because they kind of started this probably about 7, 8 years ago. So FDLE has made them kind of the vessel for the other agencies to get access to these records. There's strict CJIS requirements that they have to abide by. Part of that is why we're here, to enter into this agreement that specifies exactly what those requirements are. So I would say the overwhelming majority of law enforcement officers in the state of Florida, or law enforcement agencies in the state of Florida, would use this FRNet.
very good, very good,
Good, bravo.
good, absolutely. So do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Item 10D,
10D is a resolution authorizing the Chief of Police in accordance with the Comprehensive Crime Control Act of 1984 to expend partial forfeiture funds from the Department of Justice for the contracting of an accreditation consultant and the purchase of a training simulator.
So We are respectfully seeking approval from the commission to expend $141,464.60 of Department of Justice forfeiture funds. The funds will be used to purchase a discretionary shooting simulator for $44,464.60 that will teach our officers how to best respond in high-stress situations. The funds will also be used to purchase the consulting services of Doug Robertson for $97,000 to achieve and maintain accredited status by the Florida Commission for Law Enforcement Accreditation.
I have no public speakers, no public speaker cards. So I'd like to talk a little bit about the accreditation, because throughout this process of the chief selection process, this has, been something that's been of concern or question amongst the commission. And so perhaps you can illuminate why accreditation of our agency is so important, and what's the benefit, and why we're moving in this direction to outsource the whole accreditation process.
So accreditation is going to basically give us the guidelines to deliver services at a higher level, hold our guys to higher standards, better training. Doug Robertson is the guru of accreditation. He sits on the board, he teaches, and he's going to get us there. We have an 18-month timeline, and his knowledge and his help is going to be invaluable. I know the past administration was looking to hire accreditation manager also in the past.
So it will free up some of our time, right, of our officers, but it will take us to the next level. And again, we've been on this path towards accreditation for several years now, right? So, but now we're gonna move into the fast track, right, to get this accomplished.
Yes,
and so
this is definitely starting the process and moving forward and getting it done. This is a big step.
Mm-hmm.
And also better preparedness, I believe.
So it's overall of great benefit, and again, the forfeiture, the gift that keeps giving, the forfeiture funds, right?
Yes.
And the simulator, can you address why that's something that's, we should have? And
Absolutely. Training is a major component. The more training we have, the better our officers are, the better our officers will respond to high-stress situations. A simulator will teach us, the shoot, don't shoot, taser, firearm. It will do active shooter scenarios, and it's just invaluable to have here at our doorstep that simulator to train and practice and just become better. And it's going to keep us from hopefully any potential liability in the future, because our guys are going to be better trained.
well, training, it's very beneficial, very pleasing to see that this emphasis on the training of our staff and our department, because that will only make us all better and more prepared and safer. So thank you very much, and very important. Glad to see all this procurement, because it's all for the benefit of the entire city.
Yes, absolutely.
So unless anybody has any comments, if we can get a motion, or if you
I
have
have
a comment.
a question. So regarding the accreditation, was the process started before? I know that there was talk about, going through the process and starting that. Has it started at all from the past, from the previous administration, or are we starting from zero now?
So I'll let him better answer this one, because
Yeah.
So there was an initial commitment that was sent when Chief Snyder was here. He kind of had the vision for this, in all honesty, but there wasn't, it took a lot of buy-in from the agency, and though we were building the policies.
Sergeant, I'm so sorry. Could you speak into the mic, please?
Sure. Though we were building our policies to those standards, Doug will kind of optimize that process and present us to the commission in a more serious manner now, right? Because we're going to have an expert here with consulting, and he's kind of re-index what we've done and just make it optimal. And it's just going to make this presentation, which we're ultimately going to make to the commission, better and easier for us. And it's going to teach us, it's going to give us an education and accreditation, and then allow us to better understand it and get somebody competent in here and be able to manage them adequately.
Are these services available to commissioner training?
Just law enforcement corrections.
All right, thank you.
So it's been about 4 years, right?
So,
It's
so,
been about 4 years.
so it hasn't moved much.
It's a sizable
now-
project.
Right.
It's moved incrementally, in all honesty,
Yeah.
and just kind of depending on, what we have going on with the police department. But I can tell you that since Chief Santiago took over, he really made it a priority, and
Great.
he's
Yeah.
serious about it, and we'll get there in
Okay.
18 months.
I appreciate
And
that.
Sure.
I'd like to say we all share that sentiment. We view it to be a high priority for our police department to be a state accredited agency,
Yeah.
so.
We're 100% with you.
And if this can move it, expedited and it's.
And the simulator, and it's great.
You guys are all welcome to come,
Yeah.
come go through it.
Yeah, for sure.
Go get some more forfeiture money so you can spend it, so.
We're going to be back
It's
next
coming.
month.
I make a
Thank you.
motion.
No, I do want to make a comment that I commend you for putting this on the fast track. It's super important that we not only reach the highest standards, but also have the ability to maintain it, which is the purpose of the accreditation process. And I think this is a perfect example of, I don't want to take anything away from what's been done before. We were coming along, and we could continue to do it that way and just say, well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But you can also ask a different question, which is, can we do this differently, and can we do this better? And I think that's what this is. We asked that question, and we found a way to expedite it and do it better. And for that, I commend you. I think this is great.
Good.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Any other comments or motion?
Motion.
I'll move, or I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Okay, next item.
10E is a resolution approving an agreement with Douglas Robertson to provide law enforcement accreditation consulting services. Sorry, I got confused.
We're back.
Okay.
You're back.
The last one, we're seeking approval from the commission to enter into an agreement with Doug Robertson in an amount not to exceed $97,000 for an 18-month contract. Robertson will consult the police department to achieve accredited status with the Commission for Florida Law Enforcement Accreditation. This will be funded by the Department of Justice forfeiture funds.
Oh, okay.
This is the final step.
We love those forfeiture funds.
No public comments, so
Motion.
moved. Do we have a motion?
And I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Have a good evening.
Next item.
10F is a resolution approving a First Amendment to the agreement with the amusement source for event rights rental.
Honorable Mayor, Commission, City staff, I stand before you for an item to approve our First Amendment with our agreement that we have with Amusement Source. In 2021, we entered into a 2-year agreement with them for an amount not to exceed $120,000 for the initial 2-year term. As of now, we've expended about $108,000 of that agreement. So we're requesting a First Amendment to increase the compensation for an additional $120,000 for a total not to exceed the amount of $240,000. This amount will take us through the end of the contract term, which is in March of 2023.
No public speakers?
This is for rides regarding
This is
egg
for,
scramble and
that is correct, yes, for Egg Scramble,
situations like that.
Boogie by the Beach, for our summer camps, utilize Amusement Source. Winterfest, yes, all of our city events, we have this contract solely through them, and they provide us contract rates, which are locked in until the end of the term, which is in 2023.
No comments? Happy with the service? So if we're happy with the service and.
Absolutely, yes, we're happy with the service, and now that we're fully operational again, we're great to see everything going on. We're utilizing them strongly this Saturday for the carnival for our first city anniversary event, so we're looking forward to it.
And they're well insured, and so.
Yes, they abide by all of our
City
insurance.
has no indemnity.
They abide by all the insurance requirements that were put out in the bid, and that we have all that information on file.
Thank you. Okay, unless we have any other comments, if I have a...
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Okay, item 10G.
10G is a resolution ratifying an agreement with Don Casino Productions to provide talent and production services for the city's 25th anniversary event.
Honorable Mayor, Commission, City Staff, this is to ratify our agreement that we have with Don Casino Productions. We have our 25th anniversary marquee event on June 12th. As part of that, we did a survey to city residents of what kind of music they were looking for this event. Number one return result was pop music. So city staff did some research to try and see what kind of event that we could have, what kind of entertainment. And we found the UCI FSO Pop 2000 tour, which is a tour that is going around, is going around the country right now with acts as such as O-Town, LFO, Ryan Cabrera, and Chris Kirkpatrick of NSYNC. So upon review, in order to secure the time, after discussions with the city manager's office, he approved the agreement as written. That's $63,500. That includes production as well. So that's lights, sound included in that agreement as well. That totaled $9,000 of the agreement. So the entertainment was $54,500 in total.
For the big event.
Yes, it is a big event. It's our marquee event. So we wanted to go big this year to get some bigger name act. And that's what we were able to find. And I think it's going to be a great show. We already have, I had the number written down, on sales right now online. We have about 100 sales so far for this event on June 12th.
Excellent. I'm sure it will be spectacular, like all of our anniversary.
Absolutely, yes. We have the entertainment. We're going to have food trucks, and then we're going to end the night with fireworks off the beach, off a barge, in front of Sampson Oceanfront Park.
Very nice. So this is an all-intent, comprehensive package. So that being said, unless we have any comments from the days?
So moved.
No?
Second, anyone? Second. All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Colin.
Thank you, Colin.
Next item, item 10H.
H is a resolution authorizing the city manager or designee to purchase parts from Granger, Inc.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, and city staff. The city is requesting authority to spend an amount not to exceed $65,000 with Granger. Historically, the Granger purchase order has not exceeded $50,000. However, with the recent purchases of sustainable energy efficient fixtures, the purchase order is expected to exceed the formal threshold this fiscal year. So, for example, Valley Works has purchased and installed sensor faucets and automatic toilet sensors. Additional faucets are water sense certified. So with this spend that we made, we are predicting that we're gonna exceed that $50,000 purchase order that we originally have every year. So that's they're requesting for the $65,000 not to exceed.
We have no public speakers, no public speaker cards, but I just want to, again, commend for this being a sustainable procurement practice to advance energy efficiency. So I'm pleased to see this procurement. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any comments or questions, or we want to take a motion?
I was just wondering if you know, I know with products from Home Depot, they have their own manufacturer, such as with plumbing products. Home Depot may have a name brand, but there's more plastic in a Home Depot product. They replace it, metal with plastic.
Yes.
Does Granger do the same thing? Do they have their own manufacturer special manufacturing under their product name, or how does that work?
Yeah, they do it. They have different manufacturers, but they do have one that is their own that is called True Choice.
Mhm.
And I mean,
So it's similar to what Home Depot does?
it's much better quality.
Yeah, but much better quality, but still, it's not like the original manufacturer, correct?
It's better quality, and also it's commercial grade versus Home
Okay.
Depot that is just residential.
Right, exactly, yeah. Okay,
I would
appreciate it.
heartily agree. Thank you so much for clarifying that, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So wait, do we,
You need a
do
motion.
you have a motion? Motion?
Yes.
All,
Second.
second, all in favor?
Yes.
We have an, aye. Thank you. Granger is the standard. 4 yes and 1 absent. Okay.
Okay.
Next item, item 10I.
Is a resolution approving a second amendment to the agreement with Craig A. Smith and Associates for civil engineering services for the Central Island area pump stations and drainage improvements.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Manager, and staff. This resolution is basically to extend an existing contract we have with Craig A. Smith. They're working on the Central Island drainage pump station renovations to fix our flooding issues.
Major flooding issues.
Due to we're also coordinating with North Miami Beach because they also have a project they want to do at the same time. So there's been some cross-coordination. The original contract just needs to be extended a couple years to get us through construction.
This is just for an extension, right? But I'm happy to see multiple items that address the stormwater in this monthly meeting, so we're moving these important projects forward, right? So that's the point, so.
Thank you. This is just a time extension.
This is just an extension on this item. So that being said, we have no public speakers, so if we want to, just to make an extension, we can have a motion. Second, anyone?
Second, yes.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, next item, 10J.
A resolution approving a project agreement with Calvin Giordano and Associates to provide revisions, permitting, and post-design services for the Golden Shores Pump Station Rehabilitation Project.
This is for our pump station in Golden Shores. We originally had Calvin Giordano do a design for revamping the whole station and adding an emergency generator system. That was put on hold. In the meantime, we went and did some renovations to allow us access to the generator room and the pumps by adding some doors so we could get access for repair work. That's going to, at this point, we want to go ahead and do the full project, so we need to engage Calvin Giordano to update their plans to match what's out there today and also bring it up to the new electric codes.
So can you give a little background as to why we're moving forward with a revamp? We're moving forward with a new,
Basically, we have some ARPA money coming from the federal government that's going to allow us to do this project. So it previously was shelved due to COVID and in budget issues and economics. But now we have the opportunity to do it, so we're moving forward.
so we're going to get new pump station
Well, yes. Yes.
with the benefit of the ARPA funding, right? Okay. And so we've had some malfunctioning and so forth, so we're moving towards that, and we have the ability through the ARPA money to do that.
Correct.
And Rick, these will be greater capacity than what we currently have?
Yes, we're going to increase pump capacity, and we're going to add a standalone generator unit outside. These pumps, the pumps we have now are what's called like a fixed flow pump. It'll run at 1,000 gallons a minute or 10,000 gallons a minute. The new ones we're putting in are called variable flow. So as the levels rise, the pumps go faster, pump more water, so it's better suited in that neighborhood to maintain dry streets.
Right, more automatic as well.
Correct.
New technology.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Glad we're moving forward. Wonderful. So with that said,
Make a
unless you have
motion.
questions, if you have a motion,
I'll
so moved.
second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Item 10K,
Mayor, we can combine 10K and 10L.
okay.
10K is a resolution approving change order number 10 to the agreement with Nunez Construction, Inc. for the Gateway Park Center project. And 10L is a resolution approving a project agreement with Perkins and Will Architects to provide professional architectural services for the installation of an emergency generator at Gateway Park.
Okay, for item 10K, as you recall, when we did the build-out of the shell at Gateway Center, we did not address any of the perimeter doors since they were all there. Subsequent to that, we had issues with doors. We ended up replacing doors. What we found is we were having an issue with airflow when the air conditioning was on and the pressure just differences, so the doors on two ends of the building would not self-close properly, so we switched them out to sliding glass doors. And through that process, we ended up, again, due to supply, when we got the quoted prices, it was one number. By the time we got them delivered, it was a little more money. So that's the extra $6,700 for the sliding doors. For the generator side of it, we had originally planned to add a generator at that site to run the facility, so it would operate during emergency conditions. We had postponed the actual design and installation until we were able to get the building running. That way we could get accurate electric use numbers and size the generator properly.
Yeah.
Because as you know, you may have, like electrical panels, 300 amps, you may only use 150 under typical usage. So if you have to buy a 300 amp generator versus a 150, it's a lot bigger. So we decided to wait until we got the building operating. Then we could look at the numbers and better design the generator to the need. So at this point, we're moving forward with that design.
What is that, like a 60K,
No, it's going to be about 250.
250K?
So we have no public speakers. But this is a natural gas generator,
Yeah,
correct?
this will be run off natural gas that we have available.
So that would run absolutely everything.
Yeah, it'll run the whole Gateway
Yeah.
building, which is a hurricane-proof building, so it'll give us the opportunity to utilize it in emergencies.
Correct. I have no further comments. Do you have any, if we have no other comments from anyone from the commission?
No?
No?
Ready to go?
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Thank you. Item 10M,
10M is a resolution approving an agreement with Seawater Construction Corp. To furnish and install a fence along the mangrove conservation area at Town Center Park.
This is, if you're aware, we have, adjacent to Town Center Park, we have a mangrove section through there. On the south side of that, there's a chain link fence presently that secures that area and prevents impacts to the mangroves. That fence is basically deteriorated because the salt water has eaten all the galvanized steel of the posts, so the posts are falling in. So this is just a resolution to allow us to go ahead and replace it with a picket fence, aluminum picket like we have throughout the rest of the park. And the reason it's not 50,000, it doesn't exceed that limit, but Seacoast had already done a fence for us at Pelican Park around a small playground. So when you combine those, that puts us over the 50,000 limit for this item.
it's a better quality fence, right, than a chain link,
Yes,
and it's a more
better quality and more
coherent,
aesthetically better,
right,
and
pleasing.
it's aluminum, so the salt water won't ruin it.
Mhm. And it's just a replacement, so,
Correct.
okay. We have no public speakers, no further comments, and do we have any comments from the commission, or can we get a motion?
So moved.
Motion?
Second? Do we have a second?
Second, yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 10N.
10N is a resolution approving a project agreement with Keith and Associates, Inc. to provide civil engineering and landscape architectural services for the Bella Vista Bay Park.
This item is for the Bella Vista Park. We've gone ahead and reconstructed the dock system that was out there. We're finalizing some electrical issues to finish that project up. The upland portion is planned to be a passive park area at this point. The Shabbat that has been using the property is close to being finished with needing it at this point, so we want to move forward and get a plan in place. Part of the plan is to design and permit a seawall along the edge, which can take a little bit of time, so we want to get ahead of the game and get this moving forward.
There are no public speakers. So the idea is to move the Marine Patrol boat over to Bella Vista, correct?
If you would like, yes.
Yeah. If we,
It's not much.
That's not here on the four corner, but
That has been discussed, yes.
Mhm. But right now, so the docks they were destroyed but this is basically the geotechnical and the survey, or the seawall.
Yeah,
This is specifically for the seawall.
Well, yeah, we have to do a survey of the property to get elevations and other items for the design of the park, and then also for the seawall construction and permitting.
Mm-hmm.
And then the park itself is going to be meandering paths, some walking lights, benches, something like that. So we'll have some concepts drawn up.
How long, so the Chabad they're a few months away from a CO, but we're 6 months away, correct? From
Correct.
this, from the ability to have this park open, basically.
No.
Even further?
Yeah, this is just for the design, and then
Okay.
once the design is complete, we'll have to go out to bid for the construction, correct?
Correct.
So we're much further away than 6 months on that, on
Yes.
Bella Vista.
And Rabbi has an agreement to continue staging in that property until July 1st.
Okay, but this is for.
This
for the-
design
for the
work can
initial-
get started now.
And, okay. And the completion of the dock area, so this is just the seawall, but the docks are.
This is the seawall and the park, the land portion. The dock
Mhm.
is basically complete.
Yeah, the only thing holding up the dock is some electric work. We have to get, the electric that was at the site went away when the Shabbat came in, so we have to reroute some electric lines for the transformers, and we're working on getting proposals for that.
And how many parking spots are included in this property?
In the
It's
park,
not
there's
a-
not going to be any.
It's not it's the parking, this is just the dock area. There are
Okay.
parking spaces that are FDOT controlled
Mm-hmm.
to the north of that park.
Right.
This is just where the docks are that were in that area in the back.
Correct.
Okay. I have no questions. If anyone on the commission has questions, comments?
No.
Okay, can we get a motion?
So moved.
Anyone second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Item 10O.
We're going to combine this one with 10R as well, Mayor.
Okay.
So 10P. Yes,
10O
10P.
and
My
10P
apologies.
are together.
Yes.
Okay.
A resolution approving a project agreement with Keith and Associates to provide civil engineering and landscape architectural services for the Town Center Park upgrades. And 10P is a resolution approving a project agreement with Rodriguez Architects to provide professional architectural services for repairs to the existing building at Town Center Park.
Okay, the first item here, 10O, is for the engineering side of the project, which is to take the concept plans we have for the art park and finalize them into construction plans so we can go out to bid and have that park completed. And it also includes a coordination of the art elements that are going with it. The 10P item is the renovation of the existing building that's out there. Basically just a redo of the building to make it more presentable than what it is now. It's basically a plain block-looking structure. So we're going to jazz it up a little bit.
The former famous skate park.
Correct.
And so we're putting in that, we're installing that sculpture, right?
Correct.
That's a big part of that.
Yes.
And the engineering that goes with that. So we have no public speakers for this. Any ETA on the opening of this meditation garden, Susan?
Again, this is design. The design should be quick
We're
because
still-
the schematic is done.
Uh-huh.
And they're just going to make permittable plans out of that schematic. And then we should be able to go out to bid for the actual construction. So maybe if everything is, the stars align, we could, by the end of the year, the
Yeah,
calendar year, have an opening.
Well, maybe 9 months.
It's been a
Now,
long,
you
it's
can
a
go
long.
and meditate back there
I
anytime
know,
you want.
that's right, I'm saying,
You know,
where are we gonna go to meditate? So,
The guys, they'll let you in.
they'll let you in. We need some okay. Okay, well, if we, any comments? If we have any comments from the commission?
My only comment is when this goes out to bid, then we get to practice our cone of silence, right?
Yes, actually we will.
Correct.
Just go.
We're good. So moved unless somebody else has a comment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Okay.
10Q and combining it with 10R as well.
Okay.
A resolution approving a project agreement with Keith and Associates to provide civil engineering and landscape architectural services for a new structure at the property located at 15800 Collins Avenue. And 10R is a resolution approving a project agreement with Rodriguez Architects to provide professional architectural services for a new structure at the property located at 15800 Collins Avenue.
Okay. On 10R, it's basically, or no, 10Q is basically the design, civil and design work and survey work to put in a tennis court and a couple of pickleball courts, a multi-use tennis court facility, keeping the same parking lot that we have, but once the Dritz property's demoed, we want to change it. And then it's also going to have fencing, screening, lights, so it'll be operational at night.
The only problem I
Wait,
have.
we have no
Dana?
public speakers, so then we can,
Thank you.
just for clarification, no public speakers, so go ahead.
Thank you. So, tennis, pickleball, and no basketball, correct?
Correct. Well, we may have basketball as part of the multi-use tennis court.
Mhm. For me, I would rather not see the basketball, just because it's just a different group of people that take over the basketball court, and unless we have strict supervision, I believe that the tennis and pickleball people would be kind of out of the mix.
Well, as the next item on the agenda is for architectural service on the same property. That's because we're going to have a parks office with a maintenance. We're going to have a building that's going to have a bathroom, maintenance area, and offices, so that we'll have park staff there that could manage the park and run the park.
Mhm.
So the multi-use court, it's either set up for basketball or set up for tennis or volleyball or badminton or whatever you do there. So it's not like people can just show up one day and want to play basketball.
Right.
So that'll be controlled by the park staff there.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I know there are a lot of people in the city that are saying, what is the sense of the city spending money on tennis and pickleball? And I know that you have Arlen House, you have Point Siena that have their own tennis courts, but for Sunny Isles Beach is one of the only cities in our area that do not have facilities, sports facilities for its residents that are not controlled by a condominium or a closed community. So for that reason, I'm for this 100%.
So-
Yeah, I want it to be more for a team space, actually, and to have the option of basketball, tennis, volleyball, etc. Right now, they only have one multi-purpose, the one here in Pelican, and the volleyball girls are there, and also the basketball, and so I would actually like to see basketball for our residents, citywide, to be
The
able
only
to
thing
use it.
with basketball as an inclusion is that the structure of the basketball courts themselves, if you have permanent, basketball nets, basketball poles, they might, be in
Conflict
the
with
way.
the tennis, correct.
Yes.
And that's
You know,
part
it
of
might
the
be
design of.
danger, actually.
Part of the design is going to include some kind of survey of what the people want, the input from the people.
Not on this one. So this is going to be excluded from what we talked about with having some of those
The master
When
plan.
we get further down the Parks and Recreation Master Plan,
Correct.
we'll take this into consideration and make recommendations, as well as all of our other existing facilities, but we didn't want this to have to wait because the master plan's going to take about a year.
I like the idea of making it a multi-purpose use, and I have gotten feedback about, people are excited about having tennis courts and pickleball, and it seems to be more of an adult activity, the pickleball, and we don't have a lot of that. We don't have any of that here.
Zero.
And it's true, in some condos, you do have the tennis courts, or you do have the basketball, and different people have different things, but there isn't like a place to gather like that, and certainly not for teens. So I do favor keeping the flexibility of the multipurpose use. And then if it turns out that one activity is not as popular as we thought or whatever, we'll have the space to make adjustments down the road. But I'd like to at least preserve the options.
Yeah, because we have
yeah.
pickleball now in all over park, and they're brand new, and they're just a few feet away. So that one, we need more places for the teenagers, and I want to give them the option of being able to use that new park. So me too, I want to see as a multi-purpose, not specifically for tennis and pickleball. So I don't know if it needs to be amended, or I don't know.
No, it says it in the thing. It says.
Okay.
So for me,
It says
yeah.
it in page 520. It tells you,
The
like,
whole,
multiple uses.
the whole genesis of this was that instead of just having another open space park with just green space, when Susan, Stan, and I initially discussed this, the idea was to move towards active recreational. And that's where the idea was born, to create pickleball and tennis. And then there was a layer of basketball. But it's clear to me from the very positive feedback that I've received that there is an enthusiasm for having active recreational space. So I'm very pleased to see this on a very fast track of design and approval. So I'm really excited about that, bringing some active recreational ability and facility in, at least in the south side of the city. So
Correct.
I'm very, very pleased to see this, and I want to commend the city administration, everyone, for helping to put this together in such a quick and in an accelerated form, because as Susan rightly pointed out, we're going to have this this parks, we're going to at least vote to approve it, but certainly that's a long-term proposition, right? How do we evaluate our park space and, figure out how we're going to purpose or repurpose is applicable. But here's an initiative through the city and with the blessing of the commission where we're really taking this space and making it into active recreational space, however many pickleball, however many tennis, however many basketball, but give outdoor recreation capabilities for our residents. And for me, it's a real win-win. So thank you so much for everyone who really helped to expedite this.
And I would just like to say that for years and years, we had parks that were for children with swings and nothing really for teenagers and adults. Until I ran for mayor and then commissioner, and my entire platform was to revamp the parks, and I'm glad to see that happening.
So,
And keep in mind, these consultants are part of our continuing architects and consultants that we previously went out and did RFQs on so we could develop a stable of consultants to use. So that's why we can bring these to you in this way. We don't have to go back out for RFQs on each project. All these projects fall within the allowable purchasing limits, and we just need to negotiate with the consultants direct.
and it's going to happen soon, and it's going to be of great public benefit to the residents in the city. So we're real thrilled about that. So unless we have any other comments, I'd like to have a motion, so move, and to accelerate this process and bring sports to the south side of the city.
Yes, second. And thank you, Susan, for.
And looking forward to
making
the
it
same
happen.
thing happening in the north.
Okay, did somebody make a motion?
Yes.
It's
So,
Right.
second?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, next item.
10S is a resolution approving a project agreement with Ross Engineering to provide civil engineering services for the 172nd Street roadway improvements project.
This resolution is to work on correcting the drainage issue we have on 172nd by the fire station, which is the east end of the roadway that seems to flood every time we get a king tide, along with any rainfall there. Previously, we went in and added a couple additional drainage wells. That did not alleviate the issue. It helps the flooding issue, but it doesn't help the high tide issue. So at this point, we're looking to engage a consultant to go in there and look at the option to raise up the road to give us a dry street, as well as potentially adding another small pump system to provide drainage.
As somebody who drives that road, thank you. I've been saying for years, it goes like this and it has to go like this. And, yeah, much needed.
We have no public speakers, so with that being the case, and any other comments?
Nope.
It's a city road, and we need to do it.
Correct.
Okay.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Okay, item 10.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Audra, you're up.
10C is a resolution approving an agreement with Bertoli Trading Corporation to provide vending machine services.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, and City staff. We have, for a long time, had a vending contract with Bertoli. Bertoli is the primary source of vending throughout Miami-Dade County. Most of our other governmental entities use them, so there were a number of piggybacks to look at, piggyback contracts, upon the expiration of our original agreement with them. Genesis Cuevas, our purchasing manager, located a contract that piggybacks the city of Parkland, and it is actually more favorable than our original arrangement. This is a revenue generating contract. It generates revenue for the city. It used to be 21%, and with the renewal on this particular piggyback, if approved by the commission, we will generate 27%. So we are satisfied with Bertoli's services and wish to proceed with that piggyback arrangement.
Sounds good.
No other vendors, so.
Not to speak of, not of the size to service all the machines that we have in the city currently. We didn't find any competition for that. And we're satisfied with their services, so it's fine with us.
And the price is right, so.
The price is right.
Unless
They owe you $1. We do have certificates for that.
Oh,
See us in finance.
It's good to know.
we have no public speakers on that, so if we have a motion, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second, anyone?
Yes, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You got off easy on that one, huh?
Perfect.
All right. Next item, 10N.
U.
Sorry, I was backwards there. Okay.
A
go ahead.
resolution ratifying the expenditure of budgeted funds for the purchase of various city vehicles with Bartow Ford and Duval Ford.
As you've heard in various other items tonight, obviously, everything that exceeds $50,000 of our traditional purchasing threshold should be brought before the commission for approval. We purchase vehicles off of state contracts, and the two primary vendors we've dealt with, not the only vendors we've dealt with for vehicle purchases this fiscal year, are Bartow Ford and Duval Ford, and our purchases with them as we have been receiving vehicles, which, by the way, due to supply chain issues, are very severely extended, the delivery times. We have deliveries and payments going out this year that were budgeted in prior years, et cetera, et cetera. We're exceeding thresholds. And so we are coming to you with this ratification item for these two vendors because both of these have already exceeded $50,000, and out of the spirit of transparency, we always want to bring those to you and advise, even those were all individually budgeted vehicles in our budget, we come to you anyway to obtain ratification. So you're aware of where those are being sourced.
Okay.
Thank
What type
you.
of vehicles are these?
All different kinds. It can be police vehicles, it can be white fleet from the other departments. It's a number of different kinds of vehicles. They're on the various state contracts, and we use those state contracts to secure the pricing.
Do we get our beach buggies from them as well?
No,
We
that
don't-
would not be included in these.
Okay.
We have no public speakers. Do we have any other comments from the commission?
No.
Can I
Make
have
a motion. Yeah.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Derek,
Okay.
we're down to the wire.
We are combining items 10V, 10W, and 10X.
Oh,
10V is a resolution ratifying the expenditure of budgeted and approved funds with Software House International. 10W is a resolution authorizing the expenditure of budgeted and approved funds with Software House International. And 10X is a resolution authorizing the expenditure of budgeted and approved funds with PC Solutions and Integration, Inc.
Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Manager, Commission. These items are to approve the expenditure of budgeted funds for various purchases that IT makes. Most of these are hardware and software maintenance renewals that we do annually. In a nutshell, you're approving some purchases that we've already made and giving us the ability to go up to $190,000 total for the fiscal year with Software House International, and $64,226.48 with PCS, which is for our firewall maintenance renewals.
we have no public speakers, so these are all budgeted items.
Yes.
Okay, so,
These are coming to you because we're exceeding the $50,000 threshold that the city manager has for purchases.
okay. Any comments? Comments from the commission?
No.
Or, okay. Do we have a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Derek, it was
you.
so easy, huh?
Thank
Everybody
you,
else,
Derek.
every other department head's looking around said, it's good to be at the end of the agenda, right? Okay. Item 10,
Y.
Y. 10Y.
A resolution approving change order number 1 to the agreement with Stout Group for the construction of the Golden Shores Utility undergrounding project.
Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commission, on behalf of Paul Abbott, I present this item to you. This is change order number 1 with Stout. They are the contractor doing the Golden Shores undergrounding project. When they bid the project back in September, prices were much lower, and due to supply chain demand and price escalations, as they have purchased, they're getting the real prices as we've now purchased material. So we're asking for a change order in the amount of $135,000, $135,150.30 to cover those price escalations.
Is this to complete the project?
There may be more change orders forthcoming later. This is just getting us through where we are right now.
And this is specifically for the Golden Shores Underground.
Golden Shores undergrounding. And if you drive through there, you'll see all the equipment piled up in their storage area.
And so we're up to almost 6 million on this particular project, correct?
Yes.
No public speaker cards, no comments? Any comments from the commission?
No.
That old undergrounding project, right? Just keeps going. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
All in favor?
Yes.
Okay. Next item is 10Z.
A resolution approving an agreement with ACOM Technical Services to provide professional consulting service development of Parks and Recreation Master Plan.
Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commission, this is the long-awaited Parks and Recreation Master Plan. We did budget for it for this year, and we did a lot of research to bring to you the best company that we thought could do the best job for this particular study for us. They will give us a 5, 10, 15-year plan. They will survey everything that we currently have existing, make proposals and recommendations for where we should go in the future. And if you have any questions, Mr. Joe Webb from AECOM is here in the back. If you'd like to ask him anything about the process or how long it'll take or anything else.
So we have no public, okay, go ahead. We have no public speaker comments, but go
I'm simply
ahead.
here for any questions that you may have. I think Susan described the project pretty simply, but, it's really about evaluating what your future needs are and laying out a 5, 10, 15-year plan on how to approach it. As I've listened patiently in the back, you're trying to say, this is a really good idea, pickleball, and should it go here? It's really hard to do it one-to-one. You got to look comprehensively. This is our effort. This is what my studio does every day, has done for almost 30 years. So very excited for the chance to work here with the city of Sunny Isles Beach and, eager to get started.
We're excited to have you.
Pardon?
We're excited to have you.
Well,
Very reputable. So it looks from the bio of your company that you've done haul over as well, and you've done the park system, and you've done parks in this area, and you've done some master plans and studies and so forth.
Absolutely. I mean, personally, of my career, I've spent my life in Parks and Recreation. This is what we love. But currently, over the course of our studio, 80 of them, Miami, Miami-Dade, Fort Lauderdale, currently Tampa, Orange County. So tending more towards, we just finished Wellington and Riviera Beach, just in this region, certainly San Diego and some in the Phoenix area and up the eastern seaboard. But, basically this is what we do as a studio, as a part of a very large company, AECOM. But, what me and my group does is parks.
And this particular contract is a piggyback from the city of Miami.
Yeah, I've seen various municipalities in this. And then, of course, very important is the public engagement process, right? So you might think basketball, and I might think, wow, pickleball is a great idea, but there is a whole public engagement process, right, that takes place. And that's really important because we want the feedback as our population has grown, our city has matured. We want to have that level of public engagement in this.
Very much so. Very, very good point. I mean, our whole process is built really on public engagement, not just asking, what do you want, but, what do you want as opposed to what do you need, as opposed to what's priority, really asking those questions correctly so that it just doesn't turn into a lot of wish lists, but really helping the community to kind of come to consensus on what to do in the short term, what can be done in the medium term, and and even long term. All of the things you're talking about are all current trends in Parks and Recreation, but there are greater trends in our society that influence what we're looking at in Parks and Recreation, health and wellness, social equity, and conservation. So really blending all those ideas and working in cooperation with staff and all of you, you're a part of the process too, to really try and drive down to something that's real actionable, a real thorough way, so that you're not just getting, here's one idea for an activity and here's a park. Well, is that the best place for it? Is that the best, how should it be configured? Trying to provide that guidance that is really driven by the expressed community desires. And we are known for that engagement, both in person and virtually, so that you can really engage people, a broad sector of the community, and not just hear from vociferous few, but really the cross-section of your community to try and help you to make decisions.
And to treat it in a holistic fashion, because we have 11 parks, we have other spaces that, we potentially consider. So we want to look at this in a holistic, and I think it took many years to acquire all of these parcels through.
Yeah, and you're a very unique community, and we work in a lot of, I would say, higher density urban areas, but you're not an island either. You've got Oliver Park to the south, you've got other amenities and facilities in the area that are alternates in consumption, are other opportunities. Not everything everybody wants to do necessarily has to be provided wholly. You wouldn't build a massive boat launch with Oliver right next to you, but all good ideas, but how to best provide services that are, to me, they're all good, but how to best do it. So
Now, would your report give us a full overall view of our park needs, our future park needs regarding our density?
Yeah,
because we are, our density is, I believe we had a report that our density is something like New York City, is that correct? Second to New York City. So, and New York City has Central Park. We have 11 parks, but the amount of our land itself that's dedicated to parks, your report might say that it's not sufficient, correct?
Well, yeah, and part of our initial, what I would call homework, what we call existing conditions analysis, that kind of homework we do up front, is projections on population growth and density and other things. And I can tell you from my doing a best practices lessons learned for Oliver Park on that park in the context of what it is in the density, it was way in excess of New York. We tried to find any place in the world when we were looking at Rio. This is a unique place. The high density, the high quality of life, the unique, you're on the ocean. It's going to be an interesting thing, but certainly projecting out, 10 and 15 years, you really have to look out even 20 years and then plan for 10. But we're living, it's not static, it's dynamic. You got to be looking ahead to what might be changes in not only the population, but lifestyles are changing, and certain demographics are changing that are resulting in changes to parks and recreation needs and demands. So hopefully we're holistic and provides the proper guidance. Most of our people, I think Susan started with our recently completed plan in Coral Gables, but very similar, just the density going up and the changing of the environment here, whether it's Miami or Sunny Isles Beach or Miami-Dade County, we're transforming. Everybody wants to live here. That's great, but we've got to accommodate that.
I have a question. How long would the master plan take to develop?
We're saying a year, certainly, that is all driven by the public involvement. It's really about making sure that we're getting a fully engaged, community where we're getting good input. That's the time-consuming part. You know, our ability to just do, you know, homework, do work, do technical work, we can work pretty fast, but we go careful through the public process to make sure that in the end, not only have we engaged everybody, but everybody feels they've been engaged. We like to make sure that before we go proposing things, that every last voice has been heard, every opportunity, and we create a whole series of online statistically valid surveys, you know, this whole mixed method. That's what takes our time. And, you know, we're very comfortable within 1 year, you know, barring COVID or barring, you know, some change in our ability to get public input, you know, that's easily doable.
And do you only take a look at our parks, or do you also look at open spaces and look at, from a recreation standpoint, what open spaces can lend themselves to doing something different, no? Like we've talked about, you know, doing some sort of padded sand type of beach trail where people can walk. So I'm just wondering if it's inclusive or holistic, let's say, of the whole city, where you do recommendations like, listen, this is not a park, but it's an open space that maybe you could do something creative with it. I don't know. Just trying to
Absolutely. Again, very, very pointed, because we look at the entire public realm.
Okay.
You know, that can include, you know, pump station areas. That, you know, I give whole presentations on multiple benefit infrastructure.
No kidding.
You know, where there might be a way to take advantage. I mean, we've developed whole sports parks within, you know, sunken drainage areas. Okay, it will take off, you know, in a peak 10-year storm, it's flooded. But in the rest of the time, you have soccer fields. You know, intentional ways to maximizing the public benefit of this. Exactly, yeah. So we really try and look at everything.
I have a few questions too. So it's funny that you mentioned the city of Coral Gables, because I was looking at their parks and recreations. Can you also help us to get us the accreditation from the National Recreation and Park Association? You guys work with that? So can that be included so we don't have to start that process later on? Can we consider that?
Absolutely, and actually, a great deal of what we do through this master plan process, you know, I was part of that accreditation creation, and Fred from Coral Gables is actually the person that goes around judging accreditation, so it's a little bit, you know, friendly group there, but, you know, I'm actually giving a presentation at the National Recreation and Parks Association in September on the gold standard for park planning that leads to accreditation, because there's accreditation, and then there's the gold medal award given every year to the best park system, which we help to achieve in Norfolk and now in Tampa. You know, all of those things weigh into that. The accreditation is good not just as a, you know, kudos, we're accredited, but the process of it is actually a good process of almost being thorough in how you approach, you know, your decisions in recreation.
Yeah, that's why I actually like it, because I was looking at the benefits, and it says, like, demonstrate that the agency meets national standards of best practices, also help to recognize the community as a great place to live, etc. So I'm here in the page of the NRPA org, and that I would like to include it, so we can start it at the same time of the master plan, or whenever you think is the best, but to take us to that accreditation also.
And much of what is, you know, a Parks and Recreation System master plan is one of the top accreditation things.
Perfect.
And then the things that we do within that they ask of, are your decisions on programs and services based on community input? Well, yes, we did a survey as a part of it. You know, so, you know, do you have a thorough inventory of your system? Well, yes, we did a base mapping, we did the system. So there's like a whole bunch of the subparts that are derivative of the master planning process.
About the input of the population, we are starting our youth advisory committee very soon, and I think that'll be a good recommendation for the teens or the people who's going to be in that committee to consider what is it what they want, because I feel also the input that I have from the population, the community, is that the teens are unrepresented. And right now, here in our city, there is a lot of playgrounds for little ones. I have a 3-year-old baby, so I know all of them. But I have 3 teenagers at home too. So I also know what are their needs. And right now, they have lacking open spaces. And one area that I would love to see considered, and I know that's a little bit controversial because it basically belongs to the FDOT, but we can put some stuff in there, not permanent, is the area under the causeway, the William Lemon Causeway. I think there's a gold mine of space in there. I would like to see if I had a wish list, like a big track all around so that people can walk or go in the bicycles, etc. Tennis courts, basketball courts. It's really big. It's a big area, so I know I don't want to take so much of your time in there, but if that can be considered, like the beach walk that Commissioner Lama was talking about, just to be able to have a space for the different age groups through the city. So thank you. I look forward for this and to have it as fast as possible.
And certainly, interviews with all of you are a part of the process, and we do have a specific teen workshop as a part of it. You know, sometimes teens are kind of the in-between that gets, you know, we think quickly of children, we think quickly of older people, but it's, you know, also a group that is high need of attention.
Precisely.
You really want to target that vulnerable age between 13 and 17.
Absolutely.
So, you know, we've certainly seen underbridge setups in Vancouver. They're considering one under I in Orlando. City of Miami has one, you know, that are extremely popular. It was considered for 3 to under 395 that's being reconstructed now. So all those things are things we'd like to try and talk about. Now, I know it's 10C and it's getting, you know, hopefully as we get into this process, there's an open dialogue and dialectic about all of the needs here and really priorities on how to proceed. You know, not just here's a whole bunch of stuff to do, but, you know, what do you need to do first? You know, how much is it going to take? How do you do it? Trying to get to that part.
Yeah.
I think we're in good hands.
Yeah.
Well,
Mayor?
Feels like that.
Happy to be here.
Yes.
I want to disclose to you that since the contract that's attached to your agenda has been published, we've got a couple of minor amendments to it that doesn't affect the maximum amount or anything like that. More technical things that I just wanted to disclose to you that it's going to be a little bit different, both in the insurance provision and I think the indemnification language, and maybe a couple more, but they're more technical than they are substantive. But I wanted to make sure that y'all knew that it's going to change just a little bit.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you so
thank
much.
you,
Yeah.
and
Thank you.
very much looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
There's no other comments? I think we
I'm-
vetted this.
Yeah, I make a motion and I'm looking forward to see this master plan and work on it.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Item 10AA, NPDES.
A resolution approving an interlocal agreement between the City of Sunny Isles Beach, a co-permittee named in National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System, permit number FLS 0000003-003, and Miami-Dade County, providing for performance of professional services by Miami-Dade County related to the identification and control of pollutant discharge for storm sewer systems.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the commission, this is our interlocal agreement with Dade County for a 5-year operating permit to test our stormwater system and analysis.
This is standard operating procedure. I see
Yes.
these permits all the time. No public speaker cards, no public comments.
This stormwater currently just runs right into the bay, as it flushes right into the bay.
The stormwater through our pump station gets filtered through the pump station
Okay.
and into the bay.
What type of
It doesn't
filters?
stop absolutely everything. It's not like a filter, it's like a catchment system.
Okay. So, like a net, basically.
No, not even
Or
that. Is Rick
not
still
even?
here?
It's a
Fabricio?
filtration.
It goes, yeah, it's like a, Fabricio.
So it's like a leak catch?
Yeah, it goes down and back up so that
Mhm.
everything that is floating
Mhm.
gets caught and
Okay.
only water goes out. But
Right.
if there's like fertilizers and things like
Yeah,
that,
that's all out.
that's going through.
Yeah,
Right.
that's going
We
through.
can't, we're not filtering it in that way.
Right. Yeah.
And then this is to test what's going into the bay to make sure that we're compliant. We have been so far.
Okay.
Sorry, did I do okay?
Are there standards regarding what goes
Absolutely,
into
yes.
the bay?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's why you have a permit.
That's why we have a
Okay.
permit, and that's why we have to
Well-
have this testing.
So,
Mhm.
okay, but at different times of the year, like now the county has restricted fertilizers.
Correct,
that-
yes.
Okay, but they don't restrict pesticides and other chemicals.
I am not aware of them restricting that.
Right, so.
But it's fertilizer season as of May 15th. And that's
Right.
been
Yes.
widely announced.
Publicized,
publicly.
yes.
Mhm.
But we are responsible for our stormwater discharge. Our
Mhm.
stormwater system, unlike potable, comes from
North Miami
Miami
Beach.
Beach, and
Yes.
then wastewater is through
Miami-Dade County.
But our stormwater is our responsibility, subject to
Correct.
applicable
So
permitting. And
I
this
have
is
another,
part of the
as
permitting
long as we
process.
brought that up, Mayor, we get our water from North Miami Beach, do we hold them to any standards as to the quality of our water?
So North Miami Beach water is held to a standard that is beyond us.
I understand,
They,
but
It's
do
not
we
ours,
have?
we don't impose the standards, Jim.
Correct.
They have their own
But
No.
standards.
we did
I-
hear from some residents that they had a concern. We did bring out an independent tester. And if
Yes.
Rick was still here, he'd answer, but he sent me an email that said that everything came back
Perfect.
perfect, yes.
Yeah, we did do that initiative when I
Mhm.
started in my tenure to.
Now,
to
there
have
was
water
arsenic that
testing.
was quite high.
The what?
Arsenic was
Arsenic?
quite high
Where?
that I noticed. I mean,
Noticed
it's
where?
funny, the testing was only 2013 to 2019
Arsenic-
regarding North Miami Beach.
Well,
So
arsenic
I'm
is
not
a-
understanding
So
how,
arsenic is a naturally occurring compound, and it's related to agriculture, right? So
Well, there are
lands that
different types
have
of arsenic.
But,
There are-
lands have arsenic that were used for agricultural purposes.
right, but there are different, shellfish has arsenic, there are
Yeah,
different
but
types of
That
arsenic.
has nothing to do with the water quality here or stormwater
And then the
systems.
hexachlorophane and things like
We're
that.
not, this was a total barrier. We wouldn't have arsenic traces in our city because we don't have that kind of, we're just not built on agricultural land, correct?
I'd be happy to share, North Miami Beach Water was here just a couple months ago that did a full presentation on the water quality, and I'd be happy to share that with all of you
Yeah.
again.
Now, I had seen some numbers, but it's funny, the testing that I saw was 2013 through 2019. Doesn't North Miami Beach have more up-to-date numbers that we can get?
Yes, and when we started this, Rick had reached out to them and brought to their attention that it was not on their website. But if you recall, the woman that was here had recently been promoted or brought in to this position, so I think she's still playing catch-up. I have not been on their website lately to check, but again, I can get you that report that she provided at that meeting.
Yes, I
Okay.
would like to see it. Thank you.
I think this is just standard, this permit. So with that being the case, unless anyone has any questions, right, we just have a move to approve?
All
in favor?
Yes.
Okay. 10A, we did that one. AB, we did surplus equipment. Oh, that's mine. Okay, I'll be brief because I know it's.
Let me
been a
read it
long
into the record, Mayor.
Okay.
A resolution approving the donation of surplus city equipment and supplies to the nonprofit organization Foundation for Human Rights in Cuba in support of the embattled people of Ukraine.
Okay, so I attended an event that was announced through the Miami-Dade County League of Cities, and it was the Foundation for Human Rights in Cuba sponsored it in South Miami, in Coral Gables, where electeds and other officials came in and there was a delegation from Eastern Europe, from various countries, and making this ask to all the municipalities and the county specifically to be able to donate any surplus, and that they would, that this organization would pull all this together and ship that out to the Ukraine. So it's an ask for providing support to the embattled people of Ukraine as a result of the Russian invasion by obtaining donations of obsolete or surplus equipment and property from the state of Florida, congressional districts, counties, and cities, and providing that equipment to Ukrainian civilians. This Foundation for Human Rights is seeking any and all available surplus equipment and supplies that the state of Florida and units of local government are willing to donate, and this resolution authorizes the city manager to coordinate that. So we're a relatively small municipality, but the idea is to get these resolutions adopted in the various municipalities and in the county and so forth, so that we can all together have a concerted and a coordinated effort to get all of this type of relevant surplus equipment for the Ukraine. And there's a list of the supplies that they're equipment that they're looking for: helmets, vests, medical supplies, gauze, medical adhesive, analgesics, tanks, masks, and other safety or medical material. And this is basically for the protection of the civilian population that is in harm's way. So again, this is part of a larger effort to work together and cooperate to, bring whatever surplus equipment there is for the benefit of the citizens of Ukraine. And that's the short of it. No public comments.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So it was a wonderful, it's a great organization. Many of the leaders in the community were there. I was very heartened to not only see the mayor of our county there, but the delegation included a Lithuanian spokesperson who actually, he is the son of a Holocaust survivor, and so it spans throughout this ask throughout the Baltic region, and we're of course hoping to contribute whatever we can. Hopefully this conflict will have an end. So that being said, if we have any surplus and we can contribute and do our part, that's really what it's all about. I have no public speaker comments, so with that being said, unless we have any comments from the commission, have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Thank you. And I will be, once that we have this resolution adopted, I'll be hopefully sending that out to some of the neighboring municipalities so that hopefully we can get some a buy-in and cooperation from the others so that we can start collecting provisions and supplies to the extent that they're available and get a coordinated effort for that. Okay, item AD we've already had. Item 12A. Commissioner Lama, you've been so patient, so calm, just in anticipation for your discussion item. So here you go. You have the table.
I'll try to wrap it up in 15 minutes.
Okay.
Anyhow, so this really, this idea of the senior roundtable was born out of the advisory committees that we have and are going to be implementing. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, thank you. So this idea was born out of a combination of the advisory committees that we have. Brainstorming we did with Susan and the staff, and they helped a lot. And some conversations we had with the Village of Key Biscayne. They kind of manage their quote-unquote advisory committees differently. They call them task forces, but Bottom line, the idea is to obviously have an open forum for our seniors where they could discuss topics and bring ideas and concerns that, will lead to hopefully some, let's say, comments and information gathering that will help us improve the quality of life of this demographic. Again, like I said, I want this to be fluid. My idea is for it to be fluid and open, and for the actual people that are going to be, let's say, participating in these meetings that we're going to facilitate for them and host for them, to kind of, manage it themselves and kind of give us the ideas and be able to kind of decide what they want to do with it, So that's the idea, for them to kind of structure it, and from those meetings, for them to tell us and for us to gather information on, what course of action to take, how we could help them, what we could do, and some whatever ideas that are born out of those meetings. So the idea is to host this, I could say, maybe once every 2 months. We could do it at Gateway Center. We invite everybody, from the city, all the seniors, and nothing, for them to have a discussion and to kind of give us, their point of view, any concerns, raise any ideas, etc.
So not a committee?
It's not going to be a committee. It's going to be called a senior roundtable or senior forum, whatever, we decide to call it. But it's going to be open. We want to promote participation. What?
We can call it the Knights.
The Knights?
I like that there is going to have, everybody's going to be invited to have more participation, not only the committee members. I think that's a very good idea.
Yeah.
And they are not going to be subject to the sunshine law,
fluid.
correct?
I mean, the way I see it, I think
As
that...
long as all 5 of you, or no more than 1 of you, attend at a time,
Yes,
right, Ed?
yes, that's the point, yeah.
Good point.
So only I can attend? No.
Okay, you
No,
take
no,
care of
no.
the senior, I take care of the teens.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's do it.
No, I'm joking. So, no, you're more than welcome. And we could discuss those things. I mean, maybe we could rotate or
I'll
whatever.
do the presentation and leave.
But I think eventually, with this demographic, I think you're going to see some leaders, emerge from these gatherings. And I think that eventually they're going to kind of dictate, and they're going to tell us how they want this to be structured. We're just the facilitators.
They might become
And
a committee.
we're going to host them, we're going to give them a space at Gateway Center, whatever we want it to be, and that's pretty much it, yeah.
Yeah, Gateway Center is really a
Gateway
perfect
Center,
location.
yeah. And then we could do yoga after the meeting.
Can we go to the yoga?
To the meditation.
Yeah, we could actually have the meetings there,
So
yeah.
this is a replacement then for the first idea of the senior committee that you had?
Yeah, this is different, yeah.
Right.
I mean, it was born out of a senior advisory committee,
Right.
but then obviously, they're not going to be bound by sunshine. It's going to be open. Obviously, like Susan said, that we can only have 1 commissioner there.
Right.
And then hopefully we can move forward with the idea. Obviously, we'll need to discuss some details with staff, but, once, if they meet once every 2 months, I think it's a good cadence. Yeah.
Okay.
And then they could decide. I mean, really, I want them to tell us, or I want them to kind of, govern themselves, and we just facilitate the space. Yeah.
That's a good idea. Good.
Yeah.
We'll start
Well,
with this.
thank you to Susan and the staff. We talked a little bit, and yeah, the idea was really, it came out of the staff. So thank you
Less
very much.
committee.
Thank you, staff.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Thank you, staff.
Yeah.
Good idea. Okay, are we?
We're done.
We're
We
done.
have,
We've got
No, we
some
have
public we have
public
public
speakers.
forum, we have
Public
public
forum,
speakers, we
yeah.
have Irina Carlin. Is Irina Carlin here, or she's? Okay, her comment on her card was dirty sidewalks on 163rd Street from Palm Fruits.
So, Mayor, if I may, We are aware, and we asked the landscaper to move up the cutting, trimming of the palms. They don't usually do it until the end of May, early June at best, so we asked them to start sooner.
Great, somebody should contact her.
Well, and after they're all trimmed back, we'll go over and clean the sidewalks.
Okay.
They leave stains.
Okay, and Cheryl Williams. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, ma'am. My name is Cheryl Williams. I live at 1551 Northwest 108th Avenue, Plantation, Florida, 33322. Honorable Mayor, Goldman, and Commissioners, I am here to read a victim impact statement. I am a former SIB employee who was victim of a workplace harassment and abuse. I am here to clear my name. How bad was the abuse for me to give up $85,000 salary, benefits, 6 weeks of PTO time, Florida retirement, knowing that no one was going to go against Mr. Morris and the HR director? I worked for SIB from 2013 to 2022 with great performance reviews and promoted in September 2021. So if there's anything negative in my HR file, my file has been padded. Residents questioned why Mr. Morris was rehired after being fired. At least 3 individuals went to the former city manager about Mr. Morris. I submitted a harassment claim to protect myself, learning this was futile because Mr. Morris told a staff member in September 2021 that summer 2021, he was going to fire me. I was not shocked learning this since Mr. Morris told me that he would get rid of 7 employees if he was ever in power. Here are some facts. Mr. Morris recruited me to work for the city of Sunny Isles Beach, so why would he target and fire me? The HR director has had an angst against me for years. She used Mr. Morris to get rid of me. I submitted over 60 pages of documentation showing a pattern of behavior of Mr. Morris. The independent investigator of my case who drafted the separation documents for firing Mr. Morris, still the investigator cited Mr. Morris. I named at least 5 individuals who would have collaborated in my claims. Conveniently, the investigator never interviewed these individuals. I was gaslighted by Mr. Morris, and he made my life a living hell from June through October 21. Mr. Morris told me that he only wanted to hire younger individuals. I felt targeted because of my race. Based on these 2 claims, I believe that the city promoted 2 Caucasian individuals in their 50s for damage control. A resident submitted a public records request. This resident received limited information even though there's 112 pages marked as public record. Florida is at will state. Mr. Morris did not need a reason to fire me, but once again he wanted to with me. He fired for me being insubordinate. I'm not sure how I was insubordinate on administrative leave. I never planned on returning to the city because the abusive work environment is protected by politics and elected officials. The city will tell you that I'm crazy and unreliable. However, this is part of gaslighting. SIB tax dollars are being used to cover up harassment. In 2020, Mayor Goldman wrote an article about bullying. However, her side of the street is not clean. An individual who has knowledge of abuse within the workplace, does nothing about it, is as culpable as the harassers and bullies. I almost died because of your decisions. My faith carried me through. God is using me to make a difference. The elected officials and Mr. Morris may have won the battle. However, I will win the war. I will clear my name by speaking to anyone in Miami-Dade County, to Tallahassee, to Washington, D.C., and be the voice to stop out of workplace harassment and bullying. I was victimized, and I will no longer be a victim. Thank you.
Yeah, Mayor, Commissioners, as Ms. Williams knows, an investigation was conducted into these allegations and was found to be totally unfounded. She also entered into a severance agreement with the city whereby she agreed that the city didn't owe her anything other than what her salary and her past due leave balances and some money that we gave her for a COBRA payment. So I just wanted to make sure that you understand that those allegations have been investigated by an outside counsel and were found to be unfounded.
Now, what I don't understand is why would the lady leave rather than to answer back your statement right now? Why
Because she
would-
didn't have any grounds to stand on.
No. I'm just
What,
saying.
leaving now?
Yes.
I don't
why
know,
wouldn't
Jerry. I don't
she-
know what.
Yeah, it just surprises me that she would walk out rather than stand here and
It's okay, it's
and
okay.
and answer you back. So, is she
Mayor.
still here or did she
Mayor,
leave?
public comments over.
She's left.
Well,
This is, this meeting is, there are no other public comments, so we're going to adjourn this meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion?
Yes.
Second?
Thank you.
All in favor, aye?
All in favor?
Aye, aye, aye.
oh, that was strange.